Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. How's that? Test 1 2.
Hey, if y'all dismiss my obnoxious sarcasm, my obnoxious commentary, we can figure out a way to type it in there.
Welcome on the stream here at Blankenship Field, getting set for Oak Ridge High School football as they take on the Greenville Green Devils in the 7th game of the 2022 Oak Ridge High School football season. We're starting a little bit early, so we'll be joining the radio here in a moment. Alex Myers will join me here in a minute. Brennan Pearson will be kicking off for the Wildcats. He'll be kicking from right to left if you're looking down from the press box at Blankenship Field. And we're about to get set here at Blankenship Field on FM 92.7, FM 94.7, prepradio.com, and Oak Ridge Schools Television Channel 15. Here's the kick. Going to be short. Going to be fielded at the 10, to the 15, to the 20, 25, to the 30, and straight up the gut he goes to the left hash or across the 35, up to the 37-yard line, to the 38, and that is where Greenville will take over. First down and 10 yards to go. The quarterback is Brady Quillen. The running back for them will be Damian Short. Receivers will be Dabbs, Price, Quillen, and Laws. And we're about to get set here with their offense on the field. They're moving, as I mentioned, left to right here, wearing their all-white jerseys with green trim. The Wildcats in their Cardinal jerseys, white football pants. First down, 10 yards to go for the Green Devils. Quarterback from the shotgun is going to hand it off to number 12. Tries to get to the outside. Now busts forward, moves the ball across the 40-yard line up to the 44-yard line, where it'll be a gain on the play of about 5 yards, bringing up second down and 5 yards to go. 11:53 to play here, and we're just underway. Second down, 5 yards to go for the Green Devils. If you just tuned in on the radio, they started the game quickly. A handoff goes to the running back, and he is belted as he moves the ball to the 45-yard line. One of the rare kicks this season that Brennan Pearson did not get into the end zone. They returned it up to the 37-yard line. Now they have it third down, 3 yards to go. We're just underway, first quarter. We apologize. They started the game early on here at Blankenship Field. Greenville third down, 3 yards to go. We'll get Alex Myers in here in a moment. The ball is at the 46-yard line. Green Devil quarterback Brady Quillen looks over to the sideline. Greenville comes in at 7-0 on the year. They are the number 1 ranked team in the state of Tennessee. Quillen with a long count, has the snap, back to pass, pressured, rolls, looks to run, fires a pass. It's going to be incomplete. And the Wildcats would appear to have stopped them on their opening drive, and the punt team will come onto the field. Alex Myers, we started a little bit late, but a good series of defense for the Wildcats.
Yeah, maybe one of the first times we've ever started early at a high school game. If they can only figure out a way to do that at halftime, they'll make me a happy man. Great pressure off the edge that time by Vashon Knowles, forcing a bad throw, and great coverage downfield by Oak Ridge's defense. Great to come out and get a stop early on in this ball game.
And so it'll be fourth down and 3 yards to go. The Wildcats don't want to jump off here, obviously. First quarter, the Wildcats getting a stop on their opening drive. Wildcats have a couple guys back. Here's the punt by Greenville. It's high, spiraling kick. It's going to be fielded by the Wildcats and fumbled by the Wildcats, and then recovered right at around the 15-yard line. The Wildcats have had that happen to them before. If you're not sure about catching it, you've got to step up and make the catch instead of the Wildcat return man had his arms stretched out in front of him, fumbled it, and they've got great field position, first down, 10 yards to go. The Wildcats, Coach Cummings has said this all along, the Wildcats have shot themselves in the foot in almost every ball game, and here's a prime example of it. They get a stop, and now Greenville has it at the 16-yard line.
And Brandon Hayward's still in disbelief. He's saying that he didn't touch the ball when he had his arms stretched out. And I don't know if he did or didn't, but I don't even think that's the issue. I think there was another Wildcat near where it bounced, and I think that's who it touched. Regardless, Greenville's got it 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line of Oak Ridge.
Handoff goes to the back, number 4, who moves the ball forward for a gain on the play up to around the 11-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down facing Greenville. The Wildcats got to stop there. That's the bad thing about it, Alex Myers. We've talked about this all season long. Penalties and little plays like that have really hurt the Wildcats. The Oak Ridge defense, which has been so stellar all season long, needs to step up once again. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. The ball is at the Oak Ridge 11-yard line. 10:05 to play here in the first period. Quarterback's going to hand it off to the running back, and he's in the end zone. That's a touchdown. So the turnover leads immediately to 6 points for the Wildcats, and the number 1 team in the state leads it now 6-0.
Yeah, but I mean, that's on Oak Ridge. I mean, Greenville has to finish the drive, but they didn't finish their drive. They had to punt. And then they basically got a 50-yard gain out of the punt, got the ball right back, and then 3 plays later, here we are. So credit Greenville for scoring, but again, that's on Oak Ridge.
The extra point is on its way. It's up, and it is good. 10 minutes exactly to play. We're 2 minutes into the ballgame. The Wildcats trail Greenville 7-0. We'll take a break. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. We'll be back to Blankenship Field in 60 seconds. Welcome back once again to Blankenship Field. The Greenville Green Devils about to kick off to the Wildcats. 2 minutes into the ball game, the Wildcats down 7-0. Here's a high kick, end over end. It's going to be fielded by the Wildcats at around the 15-yard line. Cutting back to the middle part of the field and cutting to the outside is Jai Hundley, and he almost broke a tackle at the 15-yard line. If he gets to the sideline there, Alex Myers, he's taking it to the house.
Yeah, I actually didn't think he was down. I thought when he got spun down that he landed on the top of a Greenville player. Regardless, they called him down. And again, Oak Ridge now starting inside their own 20. David, you don't want to, football's a long game, right? And you've got a long time left in this ball game. But it's not a good sign, and you start to think, here we go again when you're us. The problem is if you're on the team, you're on the field down there, you can't let that happen. You just got to snap and clear.
First down, 10 yards to go for the Wildcats. Oak Ridge hands it off up the middle, and there's no running room at all. Straight up the middle. Alex, while you have the opportunity, why don't you run down the starting lineups for the Wildcats? Ethan
David, I'll
Garza
get you
gets
after this play. I lost my paperwork a little bit, David. I got you after this one.
Down 12 yards to go. Handoff goes on the near side. Another fumble in the backfield, and the ball is in the end zone. It's going to be recovered in the end zone, and that is a touchdown. So just like that, the Wildcats have 2 turnovers in the first 3 minutes of the ball game, and they're down 13-0. A horrendous start. It couldn't have started any worse for the Wildcats, with the exception of that opening drive where they stopped them on 3 plays, forced the punt, but then 2 turnovers, and just like that, it's 13-0.
Not much to say, David. That time, I mean, part of it's because Greenville, and Coach talked about this on Wednesday's show, their strength is really at their defensive tackle position. And up front, particularly up the middle, they are very, very strong, and they're a force to be reckoned with. You've seen it early on. Oak Ridge's offense has sputtered when they've held on to the ball. It's because they've gotten pressure early on, and that time a little jet sweep, end-around type of play to Hayward was disrupted because a tackle got in there early. Boy, just not good. And here's a penalty again.
The kick was good. 14-0 is the score. The Wildcats trail. We'll be back for a Greenville kickoff in 60 seconds. We're back once again to Blankenship Field. The Wildcats of Oak Ridge trailing 14-0. It'll be Greenville to kick off. Alex, not a great start. We still haven't been able to get the starting lineups in. Hopefully on offense, we'll do that here in a moment. 9:16 to play in the first quarter. And here's the kickoff again for Greenville. It's a end-over-end kick. This one's going to go sailing into the end zone, and they'll have the ball. First down, 10 yards to go at the 20-yard line. Alex?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the starting lineups up front for Oak Ridge. Left to right on the line, Lane Malcody at left tackle, left guard Elijah Israel, center Jermaine Blair back in there. Good to see him back in there tonight. Right guard Austin Hill, right tackle Nick Lucas, a senior who we spoke to Wednesday at wideout. Brandon Hayward, Connor Cummings, and Izzy Mitchell, along with Jai Hunley and DeJavis Dozier in the backfield. At quarterback, making his second start tonight, number 14, Ethan Garza. Tied in when in the game, when they're using that formation, it will be Brian Kelly.
The Wildcats have it first down, 10 yards to go, and up to the line they'll come. Once again from the shotgun is Ethan Garza. He is the quarterback for the Wildcats. He's going to pass. Pass is going to be a little bit low and incomplete. Second down, 10 yards to go. The ball is at the 20-yard line, so we're not even 3 minutes into the ball game. And as you said a moment ago, the Wildcats have a lot of time left in the ball game, but not a great start for Oak Ridge. It is spring break. You can look at the student section down below. It's not as big as it normally has been. The community section is not as big. We don't have a full band, so it's a little bit different. But you got to play some football here. Second down, 10 yards to go. Coach Scott Cummings, in his first year as the head coach of the Wildcats, he calls the plays. He sends it in to the quarterback. This junior quarterback, Ethan Garza, came in with 351 yards on the year. They're going to hand it off to the running back. The Wildcats are going to move the ball forward for a gain of about 5 yards on the play. Push back at the 25-yard line. That is DeJavis Dozier with the run. He has 601 yards on the year, 7 touchdowns. Alex, he's averaging 7.91 yards per carry.
Yeah, and you can't fall into the trap of trying to get 14 points back real quick. You made some mistakes. You've done it to yourselves. But the good thing is, if there is a positive, you still got a lot of football left to play. And I think the recipe for Oak Ridge all year, when they've done things well offensively, has been giving the ball to 22 and running the football. And I think Oak Ridge has to continue to do that and ignore the scoreboard for the moment.
From the 25-yard line, here comes the handoff. The Wildcats are going to get nothing. It'll be fourth down and 5 yards to go, and the Wildcats will be forced to punt. 8 minutes, 29 seconds to play here in the first quarter, and it is 14-0. Greenville on top. 2 turnovers in a short period of time. They capitalize. and the number 1 team is about in the state is about to get the ball once again. Brennan Pearson to punt the ball away for the Wildcats. He's averaging almost 40 yards per punt. Has the snap. The punt is away. It's high, very high, not super long. A fair catch is made by Greenville right at their own 39-yard line, and that is where the Green Devils will take over. First down, 10 yards to go. The Oak Ridge defense will come onto the field now for the Wildcats. 14-0 our score. First quarter action here at Blankenship Field. Not a region ball game. The Wildcats will play their first region ball game next week at take on the Carnes Beavers in senior night. The Wildcats will close out their year against Dobbins Bennett and at Campbell County. First down, 10 yards to go. Officially, the ball is going to be at the 38-yard line of the Green Devils. Quillen at quarterback, 1 single running back, 3 receivers to his left. Handoff goes. The running quarterback is running, and he moves the ball close to the 48-yard line. It's going to be shy of a first down by about a half a yard. Gain of about 9 on the play. Good fake there, Alex, I thought. I thought the running back had the ball. The quarterback scooted around towards his own sideline and picked up about 9 yards on the play.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm sitting here looking, and the official looked behind him, was in front of the yard to gain marker, and just waved the chain gang crew on. So they're going to give him a first down. Not sure why, but first down for Green Devils.
And that's indeed the case. And the handoff goes to the running back. This time he is belted right at the line of scrimmage. The Wildcats hit him hard. Vashon Knowles, along with Brian Kelly, Dallas Frent there on the play. It'll be a loss of a yard on the play. At least that's what I think it should be. It'll be second down and 11 yards to go.
Up front, starting for Oak Ridge, Tyler Pickens, Tim Waters, and Elijah Brady. At linebacker, Brian Kelly, Terrence Anthony, and Vashon Knowles, along with Jeremiah Holman. We'll get the defensive backfield after this play.
3 receivers to the right. The quarterback is Quillen. Second down, 11 yards to go. A little screen pass is going to be caught. Almost blown up there by the Wildcats, but they're going to move the ball up the field and pick up good yardage across midfield. Pushed out of bounds officially at the 47-yard line. The Wildcats had an opportunity to really blow up that play, but very quick receiver that time. He picks up positive yards. It'll be third down, 4 yards to go.
In the defensive backfield, Dallas Frent, Price Davis, Brandon Hayward, Elijah Rogers, and Izzy Mitchell.
They're down 4 yards to go in Wildcat territory. The ball's at the 46-yard line. Running back straight up the gut, touchdown. They're going to cut to the outside, and he will not score. He gets all the way to the 10-yard line, right up the gut. I called it early. When that hole opened up, Alex, I thought there was no way the Wildcats were going to slow him down, but they do. It'll be for Greenville. First down and exactly 10 yards to go, right outside the 10-yard line. 6:31 to play first quarter. It's 14-0 Greenville.
I think everybody in the house thought it was going to be a touchdown. It looked like a sure thing, but the speed of Elijah Rogers coming from the far side corner position had the angle, cut him off. It's great to see one back out there healthy again.
Brady Quillen is the quarterback. He hands it off, and there's another touchdown. 3 touchdowns in the first quarter against the Wildcats, and it is 20-0. The Wildcats getting ready to watch them go for another extra point. We're not even halfway through the first quarter. And you got a feel for the Wildcats on the sidelines because it has been you can't think of a worse start. As the kick is on its way, it's up, and it is good. We'll just hold it right here because we've gotten a lot of commercials in, and I think we're going to get a lot more in tonight. Before we talk a little bit about that touchdown drive, we're doing the broadcast from the DeLong's Treehouse. Vote for Carmen DeLong for City Council on November the 8th. If you want to meet her, you can meet the candidate at halftime at the Treehouse, and that's on the visitor's side, right behind the visitor's side. And we appreciate her sponsoring our broadcast here tonight. Alex, 21-0. Not even 6 minutes into the ball game.
Well, David, you know, I could sit here and spit my mind, but that's not going to change anything. So, you know, we got to try to look at the positives right now. I mean, there's not a person in the stands, not a player on that field, not a coaching coach on that staff that's happy or expected to see the score like this at this point in the game. It's pretty unreal, but I mean, again, it's a long game, and your chances every time you go 3 and out, every time you give Greenville the ball, your chances get slimmer. But right now it's still early, and again, there's no 3-touchdown play in the playbook. You just got to try to chip away and play smart. And it all comes back as the kickoff goes into the end zone. Oak Ridge will take over at their own 20. David, it all comes back to just controlling the things you can control, not hurting yourselves. Greenville's a good enough team to beat you if you're playing well. You can't beat them if you're hurting yourself.
It'll be first down, 10 yards to go for the Wildcats at the 20-yard line. 6:10 to play first quarter, 21-0 Green Devils. They are 7-0 coming into this one. They are the number 1 ranked team in 4A. We went up there last year. They beat us, scored 9 points in that one. The Wildcats, Ethan Back's going to hand it off. There's a nice hole, but then very quickly closed by the Green Devils as the Wildcats gain only about 1 yard or 2 at most on the play. It's going to be a gain of 2. Second down, 8 yards to go. 21-0 Greenville.
Ridge has not found the success early on up the middle that they're used to doing between the tackles with that powerful, strong running game. Might have to try to use some speed because that front is strong between the tackles.
Catch is made by Elijah Rogers. He fumbles the ball on the ground way back at the 10-yard line. Greenville says they have it, and guess what? They do. 3 turnovers in the first quarter. Once again, it's inside the 15-yard line. That time, Elijah Rogers, who had not been playing really since the Bearden ball game, gets hit, fumbles it, and with 5.5 minutes to play in the first quarter, they have the ball at the Oak Ridge 10-yard line, 11-yard line, and it's first down, 10 yards to go.
I've never seen anything like this, David. Not happen to Oak Ridge. I've seen Oak Ridge jump all over some teams and blitz them early, but I have not seen something like this in my memory.
Brady Quillen at quarterback. He's going to roll to his left. He's going to be dropped. Might have gotten 1 yard at most on the play. The Wildcats make the stop. Oak Ridge does make the hit. You got a lot of pride down there, especially in those seniors with Brian Kelly and some of those other guys that are out on the field, and they need to stop. The game started so positively for the Wildcats. They got the stop there was 3, they forced the punt, then they turned the ball over, and now they've turned the ball over 3 times. Second down, 9 yards to go. The ball at the 10-yard line. Quillen's going to go into the end zone with a pass, and right at the goal line. And that is, I guess, a touchdown for the Green Devils. And they lead Oak Ridge 27-0, 4:50 to play in the first quarter. 3 turnovers, Alex Myers.
I think 3 on 4 possessions. And I'm in a rock and a hard place here, David, because I don't want to be, as the extra point is up and good. I'm in a rock and a hard place because I don't want to harp on the negative, but at the same time, I'd be lying if I tried to paint a rosy picture of what's going on right now. I mean, David, you watched more Oak Ridge football than just about anybody in history. I can't remember any sort of start even remotely similar to this, especially here at Blankenship. Is there anything that you can think of? I mean, what do you think?
We trailed Murfreesboro Oakland in Laverne years ago, 28-0 at halftime. Wildcats ended up winning that ball game in overtime. That's the only thing that I can think of. That was against the Murfreesboro Oakland Patriots. And 28-0 at halftime. They came all the way back to win that ball game. So that's a long time ago. None of these guys on the Oak Ridge current team were alive at that point. And I believe Coach Cummings was coaching his first coaching gig at Tennessee I Bristol back in the late 90s. But Jared Tharp, Rock Harden, and those guys had a great comeback win. And that's what we're going to think about. The Oakland ball game in the late 90s as Greenville prepares to kick off once again. 28-0 our score, 50 to play in the first quarter. End over end kick is going to go sailing into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. One thing I wanted to point out to you, Alex, is that Elijah Rogers has not been in live contact in a real ball game since the Bearden ball game. Catch, got popped and lost the ball. That had to be the first time he's been hit since the Bearden ball game. Not to make excuses for him, but that is one of the reasons I think probably the ball came loose.
Yeah, and I'm looking at him, watching his body language, and, he's trying to be a leader down there. I mean, immediately he clapped his hand, trying to keep his head up, but he keeps pointing to his chest, and you can tell he knows that's on him, and he's saying that's my bad. And the problem is it's not just Elijah Rogers. And, oh, my goodness, we've done it again. David, play clock expired on a change of possession, so Oak Ridge will start this drive 1st and 15. I don't know, David.
I know Coach Cummings says that's on him because he's the offensive coordinator, but they were huddling on the sideline after the change of possessions, and they got a delay of game call. So it's 1st down, 15 yards to go. The ball is at the 15-yard line. Quarterback is Ethan Garza. A little screen pass out of the backfield, up the sideline. Not much there on the Oak Ridge sideline. I think he's going to be pushed out of bounds at around the 17-yard line. Actually, they're going to put the ball down. I'm looking at the initial spot right at the 16-yard line, and that's going to be a gain of only a yard. So it'll be 2nd down and 14.
Oak Ridge has got to be careful. There's been a couple of plays with Elijah that's gotten chippy and potentially could have gotten a penalty on Greenville or Oak Ridge. That time his helmet was ripped off. Somehow that wasn't a penalty, but wisely they take him out for a play or two to get him to calm down. But you can't get – the officials got to be careful not to let this get chippy.
Here's an interception. 4th turnover of the first quarter. Connor Cummings was the intended receiver. Is picked off at the 35-yard line. What a disastrous start to this Oak Ridge game. 4 turnovers, and we're not even 8 minutes into the ball game. People are going to start turning off our broadcast. Stay tuned. We have a lot to do. We're going to be talking volleyball at halftime. The Lady Wildcat volleyball team won the district championship yesterday over West. They'll be starting region play. We'll be talking to a couple of their players at halftime. 4 turnovers, Alex. What can you say?
I mean, I feel like I'm going back in time and I'm watching the Hindenburg crash right in front of my eyes, David. I mean, it's just a disaster doesn't do it justice. I mean, I just don't. I appreciate, they took a shot there, and actually Connor Cummings was open running down the sideline. Had the ball been placed a little better, it was. I'll give him credit for taking a shot, but I mean, it couldn't have started worse.
Good news is there was a penalty on it, so they will not start it where they returned it to. They're going to start it on the other side of the 50-yard line. And on the 1st down play, quarterback is belted, and he'll be hit at the line of scrimmage, might have even lost a yard. The ball is officially at the 49-yard line of Greenville, where it'll be now for them 2nd down and a little bit more than 10 yards to go. The ball is at the 49-yard line. They are heading towards Jackson Square, leading Oak Ridge 28-0 with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Quillen at quarterback. He has thrown for 1,058 yards coming into this one. They hand it off to the back, and he is brought down at the 45-yard line. Knowles along with Terrence Anthony there on the stop for the Wildcats. It'll be for Greenville. 3rd down. We'll call it 3.5 yards to go for a first.
This is a big pride play right here, David. Just gut check time. Nothing's gone your way so far, but as a defense, you got a chance to get a 3 and out.
3rd down, 3 yards to go. 4-man front for the Wildcats. 3rd down, handoff to the back, and they're going to grab him in the backfield, and they're going to work the ball across the 35-yard line, and that's going to be a 1st down for the Greenville Green Devils. 3:22 to play here in the first quarter. 28-0. There's no way to sugarcoat it at all. Nothing we can really say positive here, except that first drive when they forced the punt. Greenville 1st down, 10 yards to go. The ball is at officially the 34-yard line of the Wildcats. 2:57 and counting. 1st down, 10 yards to go. Running back hands it off, and once again, he busts to the outside. That's number 4. He spins towards the 20 and goes out of bounds at around the 8-yard line. And that's another fine gain for them. And that was, once again, a fine carry. It'll be first down, 10 yards to go for Greenville.
Oak Ridge is having a real tough time right now on those RPOs. It's essentially just read option plays. They haven't really thrown much out of it, but every time the quarterbacks kept the ball, they've had success. Oak Ridge has done a much better job stopping the running backs for the most part, but that time they weren't able to do so.
This time he gets going to be a flag down in the backfield. Might be a hold. We'll have to check the call. 2:17 to go here in the first period. 28-0. 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, an interception, and Price Davis was there on the stop. They're going to put a flag, a marker down on the field. They're going to step yardage off against Greenville. So far, really, with the exception of that first drive, the Wildcats have, as you said, have really not been able to slow them down at all.
No, not really. But at least this drive, if Greenville scores a touchdown on this drive, at least Oak Ridge has made them sort of work for it. They haven't had that huge play. They're sort of having to meticulously drive down the field. Oak Ridge is at least providing a little bit of resistance right now.
It'll be first down, 21 yards to go now. The ball is at the 29-yard line, hand off to the running back, and he moves the ball across the 25 up to the 24-yard line, where he is tackled there by the Wildcats. I see LaMichael Galloway in the game right now. LaMichael had to sit out the PAL game a week ago. They've got Tim Waters in the ball game on the defensive line as well. Wildcats are short a receiver today. Will Presley had a injury that took place in practice the other day in a drill. 2 separate drills going on at the same time. The 2 players collided, and Will is out with his ball game. Second down, 17 yards to go. Ball is at the 24-yard line. Quillen's going to hand it to he's going to throw it into the end zone. Pass is intercepted almost by the Wildcats. It hit the receiver, bounced around, and almost was picked off by Oak Ridge, and that would have been a huge play for the Wildcats. Instead, it's third down and 17.
Yeah, Dallas Frint and Brandon Hayward, the 2 nearest Wildcats, both of them actually got their hand on it, weren't able to come down with it. David, you're looking for any good news, so you have to turn your eyes away from this game to find it. But in region action, Clinton trails Lenore City 10-0. So while Oak Ridge's game won't affect their region standings, that could affect some other teams around the region.
If Lenore City were to beat Clinton tonight, that would eliminate the Dragons. They would be 0-4 in the region. Quillen a pass all day, fires it, middle of the field, pass is incomplete. 2 receivers wide open in the end zone. He overthrew both of them. It'll be fourth down, 17 yards to go. They've got a good kicker by watching their kickoffs here, and they've had a few here in the first quarter. It'll be fourth down, 17, and it looks like a timeout is going to be asked for by the Green Devils. We'll take a quick timeout. 28-0 our score. That's right, 28-0 Greenville. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Tonight, we are honored to have members of the classes of 1970 and 1950 that celebrate their 50th and 30th anniversary. Will be welcoming them back to London Field. Welcome back to the 50th and 19th.
One of our sponsors tonight is the fact that we're broadcasting from the DeLong's Treehouse right behind the visitors section. Vote DeLong for City Council on November the 8th. It'll be fourth down, 17 yards to go. They're going for it, leading 28-0. Quillen back to pass, pressured, rolls, looks, about to be sacked, fires it into the end zone, incomplete, and the Wildcats get a stop. That's a positive right there. The Wildcats stopped them. They had the ball after the turnover inside the 15-yard line. A penalty backed them up, and then the Wildcats were able to step up and make a defensive play, and they'll take over. First down, 10 yards to go, but we've got to get some offense. We've got to keep, as you said, their offense off the field.
Yeah, we do, and hey, you can only put one foot in front of the other, and that time Oak Ridge's defense did their part. The second real bright spot of the game on that drive. Now it's the offense's turn. Let's just, again, put one foot in front of the other. As Pat Summitt used to say, left foot, right foot, breathe. Just do what you can do. Just try to put a few plays. Don't even worry about scoring. I mean, heck, just get a first down or two and try to build some momentum.
Play clock is down to 4. It'll be first down, 10 yards to go. Garza rolls right and is going to be sacked. Back at the 15-yard line. Wildcats rushed in, got the play off with about 3 seconds left on the play clock. It is going to be a loss on the play. Back to the 15-yard line. It'll be second down and 15 yards to go. We're under a minute to play in the first period. 28-0 is the score. Wildcat offensive line has got to do a better job here. Kind of protecting Ethan. He had absolutely no place to go. Wildcats have receivers, 2 to the left, 2 to the right of the quarterback. We're down to 12 seconds on the play clock. Play is sent in to Ethan Garza, down to 5 seconds. Handoff goes up the middle, and there's not much there. Maybe a gain of 2. It'll be third down long, and Alex, 17 seconds to play in the first quarter. It's 28-0. The Wildcats will be faced with third and very, very, very long.
And we're not going to actually have the quarter change yet because it's going to be an official's timeout as we've got, it looks like Nick Dallas a little shaken up on the play. So with 16.4 seconds left in the opening quarter, we've got to pause.
Nick Lucas, I believe you mean. Yeah. 16.4 seconds to play, 28-0 our score. We'll be back in 60 seconds. David Clary back here along with Alex Myers. 15 seconds and counting. Nick Lucas goes off with an assist from Oak Ridge trainer Brian Leffler. Ethan Garza rolls to the right sideline and fires a pass, and it's incomplete. Nearly picked off. It'll be fourth down and 18 yards to go, and the Wildcats will be forced to punt with 5.9 seconds to play in the first quarter, trailing 28-0. Good to see Nick go off on his own power with a little assistance from Leffler and Dr. Benson, but he's had so much trouble with that knee already. It would be terrible to see him go out, but I think from the looks of him, he might be able to return. Unfortunately, the Wildcats are forced to punt. Oak Ridge has yet to pick up a 10-bank of Oak Ridge first down, as it'll be Brennan Pearson coming into the ball game to do the honors. Alex?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's still listening and watching. I know this has been a tough watch, David, but, we appreciate the listeners. I know Allie and Reed, a couple of my friends, are out there listening, and a lot of folks on YouTube watching, and so we definitely appreciate it as that punt will go out of bounds at the 49-yard line of Oak Ridge, and mercilessly, the first quarter will come to an end.
28-0 is our score. We're live here at Blankenship Field. We'll be back next week for senior night. The Wildcats and the Carnes Beavers in a big region ball game. We'll take a break. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. First quarter is over. 28-0 Greenville. Back with the second period in 60 seconds.
At the end of the third quarter.
As I said, we have a new sponsor in our broadcast here tonight, and actually the second time we're broadcasting part of our broadcast from the DeLong's Treehouse. You can vote for Carmen DeLong for City Council on the ballot for City Council on November the 8th. You can come meet her if you'd like to talk to the candidate yourself at halftime at the Treehouse, which is located right behind the visitor section, if they will let you out of Blankenship Field. It'll be fourth down after the punt. The Wildcats will see them get the ball after the punt at the 49-yard line of the Wildcats. Quillen at quarterback. They've got receivers left and right. They're heading away from Jackson Square now. Quarterback Quillen's going to hand it off to the running back, and he's going to move forward with some great blocking on the interior line there, Alex Myers. That line just pushed our line back all the way almost to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 9. It'll be second down and 1 yard to go. Tim Waters there on the stop of the.
Yeah, and we've got some talent. That's one of the bright spots on our team, I think, is that defensive front, especially the line. They've played well all year. Haven't played horrible tonight, but you see why Coach calls them a weight room team. They're so strong up front.
Yeah, look at that pile just moving down the field. A 10-yard push by the offensive line, just pushing back. Got to remember, though, Tim Waters, number 60 at nose right there. He is a freshman, and he'll get stronger as well. Wildcats, Brian Kelly there makes a stop, but not before they pick up a first down. That's just some power football, just running straight at Oak Ridge, and they'll come to the line once again. Carson Quillen is the running back in the backfield. The quarterback is Brady Quillen. They also have a slot man on the right side, 2 receivers to the left of the quarterback. They've got 1 lone man to his right. It'll be first down, 10 yards to go. Once again, Quillen, a big hole on the outside, and cuts to the outside. He's finally tackled at the 25-yard line, and old reliable number 33 is there for the Wildcats to make the stop. That would be Brian Kelly. And Elijah Rogers there also. Brian Kelly, Alex, comes into this game with 71 total hits and 2 sacks. He by far, almost by 30 total hits and tackles, leads the Wildcats in that category.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the season he's had, and and he's enabled a lot of other players to have some shining moments because he draws so much attention. But if there's a staple in this defense, it's that 33 is going to show up ready to play.
They have another first down as they move the ball across the 20-yard line up to the 19. The Wildcats had an opportunity there in the backfield, but couldn't really get him down. That was Damian Short at running back. It'll be for Greenville. First down, 10 yards to go. They lead Oak Ridge 28-0 with 9:49 to play in the first half here. 4 turnovers in the ball game for the Wildcats, and the poor defense has been out on the field. The Wildcats yet to pick up even a first down. Quillen has the snap, hands it off to the other Quillen. He's across the 10. Bump forward to the 7-yard line, where it'll be for Greenville. It looks like second down and about 3 yards to go. That was once again Damian Short on the carry. Nothing fancy here, and fortunately they're just running the ball here because that's making the clock move there, Alex Myers.
Well, here in about 2 or 3 plays, it's very likely that the clock is going to continue to run. Does the mercy rule start? It doesn't start until after halftime, does it?
It does not. There's a handoff. They move the ball forward. There's a flag in the secondary of the Wildcats. That was Damian Short once again on the carry. It'll be, let's see, we'll check the call here. The referee, he's the guy in the white hat, comes wandering over to the Oak Ridge sideline and points towards Greenville, so they'll be penalized, and they'll back up a few yards here. 4 turnovers,
yeah,
3 fumbles. and an interception. The Wildcats have stopped them twice, forced one punt in the first quarter, which they fumbled, and they took in for a touchdown. They forced another punt just a while ago, but could not get their offense going. The Wildcats have been shut out once this year already by the Farragut Admirals. Right now, Coach Cummings, the offensive coordinator and head coach of the Wildcats, has to figure out a way to get his offense going. It'll be a penalty yardage step back to around the 16-yard line, where it'll be now first down and 16 yards to go. High step, boom, big stick by the Wildcats. The snap was very high. The Wildcats came in strong. I believe it was LaMichael Galloway, and he just came in and he messed up the play, and he messed up the front teeth of that young man. He is knocked back all the way to the 21-yard line.
Tremendous play by Galloway. He missed last week's. Great to have him back up front. The strength of that defense at nose tackle. He's small and undersized, but he's so quick. And that time, he just squirted back into the backfield before the ball was even handed off. And Greenville, honestly, almost lost the ball.
Here's a pass that's going to be caught inside the 3-yard line all the way down to around the 1-yard line. It was 2nd and 21. But they make the reception inside the 5-yard line, where it'll be for the Green Devils. 3rd down and a yard to go, I believe.
Sorry, David, I'm not much help tonight. It's hard to know what to say and say it gracefully.
Power formation for the Green Devils. 3rd down, a yard to go. They're going to hand it off to the back, and he is going to pull and push and drive and to the end zone. And I did not see a signal there.
Short.
Damian Short there on the carry. Are you trying to be funny, Alex?
No, I'm being dead serious. He was stopped short. It was a great late effort push, but here comes the 4th down. Quick snapping it.
And they're going to push forward, and this time, Alex Myers.
Yeah, he's got it that time. They ran the quick snap on 4th down. It was a great effort late. It looked like they were going to have it on 3rd down, but the Oak Ridge defense just powered through and stopped him right probably about the 6-inch mark. But then on 4th down, they just really no huddled, went up in same formation and quick snapped it, and they just got behind the quarterback on the QB sneak and just pushed him in.
The extra point is on its way. It's up, and it is good. 35-0 Greenville. The Wildcats trailing here at home at Blankenship Field in the next to last regular season ball game here at Blankenship Field. We appreciate anybody who is still listening to our broadcast. Don't give up. These kids are trying to play hard. They're trying to get back into the ball game. They've just made too many mistakes here in the early going. And they're still high school kids, so we want to support them. I see some of the fans at Blankenship Field down below us heading towards the exits. That's not a pretty sign, as we're not even at halftime, Alex.
No, but, to be honest, it's very possible there's not going to be much left other than a few friends and family after halftime if Oak Ridge isn't able to put a drive. I mean, at this point, we got to be realistic, David, and trying to win this game, of course, you always want to win it and you want to come back and all that. That's great. But at this point, you're really just playing for pride. And the defense, although they got scored on, they showed me something right there. On that big 3rd down stop, they could have easily just given up a touchdown. And at this point as a player, your focus is just playing for pride, for your manhood, really, and for the name on the front of your jersey, if you will, rather than the back, just showing up and giving your all. And the defense, they got scored on, but they were showing me effort. Now I'd like to see some from the offense, at least move the chain a couple times.
Here's a kickoff return by the Wildcats. That's Almani Rimmer trying to get to the sideline. He does. Down the sideline, 35-yard line. A flag goes down. We might have a block in the back. I'm seeing Ben Bird kind of reacting towards a Greenville player. I do see a flag. I don't know if he was involved with whatever just happened, but it's a fine return there by Almani Rimbert. And the Wildcats, if they're going to get it right here, depending on the penalty, they'll have it at the 36-yard line, but they're facing and looking towards Oak Ridge, and they're going to step yardage off against them.
Now, David, I've got a question for you, and I'm being serious. I think right now you want to get some starters. I think you guys want to get the taste out of your mouth at least somewhat. I think you want to get a scoring drive, get a little something positive so that these guys can at least get a little momentum as we get back into region play next week. But on a serious note, as injury-ridden as this team has been, at what point do you just sort of throw in the towel and try to think, hey, we've got more season to play, we've got region games, we're somewhat healthy finally? You know, at what point does that start creeping into your head?
Well, you know, you had the first start of a quarterback last week. Here's a throw down the field. It's going to be Elijah Rogers making a great catch at the 43-yard line. The Wildcats deliver the pass with Ethan Garza. Ethan Garza's got a great arm. I know he threw that interception earlier and underthrew Connor Cummings. He might have underthrown his receiver there, but he does make a connection. It'll be the first 10 Bank of Oak Ridge first down of the night. Ball's at the 42-yard line. That was a nice throw by Ethan.
And a really nice adjustment on that throw. He placed it on the outside shoulder, and Elijah Rogers sort of got turned around there and had to spin around. Nice job locating the ball, and great job up front, giving Garza time to throw that deep ball against a great pass rush.
First and 10, Ethan's pass is going to be incomplete, intending it for Coach's son, Connor Cummings. His second game back, he got hurt. I guess it was the Anderson County scrimmage up at Carson Newman, broke his collarbone. He and Elijah Rogers both with collarbone breaks. Connor's was much worse than Elijah's. He didn't have to take as long to get back, but it's good to have both of them back. Second down, 10 yards to go. The ball's at the Oak Ridge 42-yard line. Second down, 10. We're down to 6:23 to play in the first half. Play clock is at 15 and counting. Garza's second down, 10 yards to go. They're heading towards Jackson Square. Dozier's moving towards the 45-yard line, lowers his head, went straight helmet to helmet with a defender from Greenville. It'll be now third down facing the Wildcats. Third down, and it looks like about 8 yards to go. The ball's at the 44-yard line. Exactly 6 minutes to play. The Wildcats going quickly here. Third down, 8. Garza to pass, has all day, cranks it deep. Man's there, passes there. Caught at the 15, at the 10, at the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown, Oak Ridge. Down the sideline go the Wildcats, and Oak Ridge is on the board with 5 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Beautifully thrown pass, great run after the catch, and Oak Ridge will go for the extra point.
Tremendous throw, tremendous run and effort after the catch. That was an over-the-shoulder tough catch. It's a sneaky tough catch from Hayward. Nice power and determination to drag a defender across the goal line, but it all started up front. David Cleary, a defensive line that has had so much success getting into the backfield. They gave him all day that time. Great job blocking up front by Oak Ridge's offensive line.
And a great catch, one of the biggest plays all season long for Brandon Hayward. But unfortunately, as the Wildcats prepare for the extra point, obviously they didn't have the right personnel in there, and they have to burn a timeout. David Wilson will be attempting. Let's just hold it right here because we'll have a kickoff in a moment. Right there is an example. I know Coach Cummings has just got to be furious. All you're doing is lining up for an extra point, and obviously they had to burn one of their timeouts. Obviously, there's only 5:50 to play in the first half, but right there it should be simple. Get your extra point team in, go in there and kick and get ready for the kickoff. But another mistake there by the Wildcats, not having the right personnel.
And I don't know if I've got a sneaky suspicion it may have been Elijah Rogers, but he actually sort of gets a pass from me this time. If that was him, that was the reason, and I think it was. And he actually came out after a catch earlier in that drive and looked like he was trying to work out a cramp. And during the touchdown, I looked on the sideline right after the play was over, and Elijah was trying to look around, figure out what the hoopla was about. He was still getting that cramp worked on, and so they just kind of shoved him in and tried to get him out there last second. I think that's why there was an issue.
David Wilson's kick is on its way. It's up, and it is good. 5:50 to play first half. Some positive words here from Blankenship Field. The Wildcats are on the board. 35-7 our score. We'll be back with an Oak Ridge kickoff in 60 seconds. Here's the kick by Brennan Pearson. Another short one's going to be fumbled inside the 5-yard line, picked up at the 3, at the 5. He moves the ball forward. Get outside. Did get positive yardage. He fumbled it inside the 5. I don't know if Brennan's having foot fatigue. That one of the few times. That's two kickoffs that have not gone into the end zone, and just about all of his kickoffs have gone into the end zone. But the good news is the Wildcats have a score on the board, and that, as we talked about, as you actually pointed out, have something positive to talk about here.
Yeah, we do, and now it's just about sort of keeping that ball rolling downhill. Your defense had a tough drive last time, but your offense just gave them a little boost of energy. Let's see, backed up inside their own 15, if Oak Ridge can make a stand here against the Green Devils.
Ball's at the 14-yard line, first down, 10 yards to go, 5:41 to play. Quillen's pass is going to be caught. Nope, dropped. Then the Wildcats pop him, and then a flag goes down. It's an incomplete pass, and then the ball is dropped. I think what the Oak Ridge defender thought, he thought he caught it and then fumbled it, but it was obvious he dropped it. And you always say, you can't get into the mind of a human being if you don't know what they're thinking. But that's a personal foul against the Wildcats. And I think he must have thought that he didn't catch it because he popped him when he was, looking at the ball down on the ground. Not a smart play there by the Wildcats.
No, actually, Dave, they ruled that he did catch it because the official that came up and threw the flag walked up to spot it. I think that they ruled it a catch, and that he was down before the fumble. That's what I thought. I could have seen it wrong, but based off the official's actions and how he approached that, to me, I thought he was marking him down before the ball was out.
Maybe that's what our defender thought, too. Either way, it's a first down on the penalty, first down 10 at the 29-yard line. Quillen in a lot of trouble. He is going to go down at around the 33-yard line. A positive play on what was going to be a really negative play for the Green Devils. Elijah Bradley wearing another uniform today. This is the third uniform Elijah has worn. He's worn 19, 91, and today 53. Second down, 6 yards to go, 5:08 to play. First 35-7, the Wildcats trailing Greeneville. Number 1 team in the state, and they look like it here, but we've actually made them look better as the ball came popping out of there. They have yet to signal. I think he was down. No, they're going to signal. It's a fumble. So the Wildcats are going to pick it up at the 35-yard line. I'm not so sure. We're a long ways up here. I can't tell whether it was a fumble or not. But it's a break for the Wildcats, and who knows? Get another quick score here, and you're right back in the ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we talked about at the start of that drive, David, is sort of letting that positive momentum snowball. Your offense started it. Your defense added to it. Now, less than 35 yards away from pay dirt, Oak Ridge's offense is back on the field. Let's see if they can do something.
Ball is at the Greenville 34-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. 4:53 to play first half. 35-7 the score. Garza rolls to his left, looks to the end zone. There's a man, passes there, pass. And does he have it? No signal, but there is a flag in the end zone. There is a flag in the end zone, and we'll have to check the call. It was Connor Cummings he was the intended receiver, and he almost made a nice little catch in there. We'll have to check the call. I saw a flag. It is going to be pass interference against the Green Devils. So that'll give Oak Ridge, 10 Bank of Oak Ridge, first down.
Yeah, it was a great play. Connor Cummings started off on the right side of the field, went towards the goalpost, had his defender beat. It was an athletic play by Garza, just sort of buying himself some time, and almost like a baseball player kind of crow hopped into that, threw it about 45 yards downfield to the back of the end zone. Beautiful pass, but he wasn't able to catch it because of the pass interference.
Play clock is at 21, so a lot of time for the Wildcats. First down, 10 yards to go to the 19. Here's the pitch to Dozier. Dozier cuts to the outside, cuts to the sideline, and goes out of bounds with 4.5 minutes to play in the first half. It'll be second down facing the Wildcats as they put the ball down. It'll be second down for Oak Ridge with 4.5 minutes to play. It's a gain of 7 on the play. Ball officially, we'll call it a gain of 6. Second down, 4 yards to go. The Wildcats down 35-7. 4.5 minutes to play in the second quarter of this game. From the 13-yard line, second down, 4 yards to go. Junior quarterback Ethan Garza, his second start as a Wildcat, fires it in the left corner. And the pass there, right at the sticks. Alex?
And I think they're going to have enough for it. They needed to get to the 9. They're going to mark it right at the 8. So it will be first and goal for Oak Ridge. An opportunity here, David, to try to continue the positive momentum, the ball rolling in the right direction, as they're going to get Cummings out and they're going to substitute Brian Kelly in for the tight end, get a little more power up there on that right side of the offensive line. Got to keep in mind, split out to the right side as a slot receiver is Jai Hunley. He's a very, very good blocker from that receiver position.
It was Connor Cummings on the catch. Here comes Ethan Garza trying to run it. He does to around the 6-yard line, where it'll be second down, goal to go. Ball's at the 6-yard line. 3 minutes, 47 seconds to play and counting here in the second quarter here from Blankenship Field. Next week, senior night. Wildcats taking on Carnes. Big region ball game. Hopefully we'll get some updates from the Clinton-Lenoir City ball game. That's a big one. 4 losses for Clinton, and they'll be eliminated and no playoffs for them. Lenoir City, that single wing, they're always tough. Second down, here's a pass, end zone, left side. Pass is going to be in the end zone. The signal is no touchdown. It'll be third down, goal to go at the 6-yard line. Flag down on the play. We'll have to check this one, Alex Myers.
Yeah, it was he caught the ball, but he was just a little bit out of bounds, which is not the worst thing in the world. If you're Garza, you can miss long like that. You can't leave that short, as the defender was in front of him. And so he caught it, but was too far out of bounds. There is a penalty that came in right near the goal line. I would assume it was going to be against Greenville, but they're going to mark it off. I'm going to assume it was probably a push-off potentially on the wideout, which was Elijah. I don't know that for sure. I didn't see the call. I just know that it's going to be offensive pass interference, so I'm going to guess that they probably called Elijah Rogers with the push-off. It'll be second and goal from the 21-yard line.
And that's a big penalty against the Wildcats, and we're down to 3:21 to play. And Coach Barry Saunders watching our broadcast tonight. And always good to have Barry on board. We'd love to have him here at the field. Second down, goal to go at the 21. Ethan rolls, fires right back. Screen pass is going to be caught. Moving the ball to the 15-yard line, back close to the 10. Officially, it'll be third down facing the Wildcats.
Yeah, and good downfield blocking that time. It was a great setup, great play call as it got this in a much more manageable situation, third and goal. And obviously, you're going for 4-down territory here if you're Oak Ridge at this point in the game. You talked about Coach Saunders listening. Mike Sheehan, usually a member of our broadcast team. He's excused this time at LSU this week, and he's listening.
Here's a pass in the end zone.
And it's going to be incomplete, David, just off the outstretched arms of Connor Cummings.
Goal to go, I should
They're very
say.
confident, it seems like, in Ethan Garza's ability to make that throw to the corner where only his man can get it. And it actually surprised me, although that was incomplete. Third and goal from the 11. They're going to send the field goal unit out there.
Here's some boos from the Oak Ridge crowd as the Wildcats will go. They're trailing 35-7. You got a good, strong kicker in David Wilson. You have an opportunity. He's 2 for 2 on field goals on the year, Alex Myers. It'll be Nehemiah Elmore to hold, Connor Cummings to snap. David Wilson to attempt the field goal. Ball is down. The kick is on its way. It's up, angling towards the goalpost. Did he have enough on it? He did not. It was off to the right. Didn't hit it strong at all. Got under a little bit, kind of pushed it off to the right side. So a golden opportunity goes by the board for the Wildcats. And with 2:37 to play in the first half, Alex Myers, they trail still 35-7.
Very disappointing to come out of there with nothing. I mean, I understand the thought process of getting that field goal just to continue that positive momentum and give your offense something to show for that nice drive they just put together. But unfortunately, really that 15-yard pass interference penalty derailed that drive. And again, it was Oak Ridge sort of doing it to themselves. Defense is back out there. Let's see if they can make another play.
First down, 10 yards to go. The ball's at the 20-yard line. Greenville with their backs to Jackson Square. If you're watching or listening on the radio or watching on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio, we're also doing the broadcast, the audio portion on Channel 15. We don't have the video on Channel 15 tonight. Next week we will when the Carnes Beavers come to call. Then the last two games of the year, we've got Dobbins Bennett and Campbell County on the road. Gain of 8 on the previous play. Second down, 2 yards to go at the Greenville 28. Quillen's going to hand it off to the back, and he has a first down across the 30, up to the 31. Brian Kelly there on the stop of the Wildcats, along with, looks like, Izzy Mitchell. Bryce Davis as well. Bryce Davis. 2 minutes to play and counting. First down, 10 yards to go for the Green Devils. The ball right at the 32-yard line.
And a minute 45 on the clock. It's ticking. Greenville doesn't look like they're in too big of a hurry. Given their field position, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't try to take a shot here, though.
Yeah, me too, as they're going to run the ball straight up the gut. I think they're content to head to the dressing room. I noticed the safeties were playing up, too, and you got to be careful that they don't just fake the handoff and drop back and hit a long one down the field. We're down to 90 seconds to play. The stop for the Wildcats, Jeremiah getting his first start on defense for the Wildcats. I think last week he was the long snapper for Price Palmer, who's still out with an ankle injury of some sort. It'll be for Greenville. Second down and 1 yard to go. Looks like a little bit less than a yard to go. 91 seconds to play in the first half, 35-7. Good news, Wildcat fans. Oak Ridge will get the ball first, and we start the second half. And good news, Alex Myers is going to be interviewing and talking about the district champion Lady Wildcat volleyball team at halftime. We'll have Mark Hayes and Shauna Hayes statistics as well and the scoring summary. It's not been pretty with the exception of that one. Hand off to the running back, and he's going to move the ball forward, and he does have what appears to be a first down for the Green Devils. Minute 12 to play, and the chains are moved, and the clock, fortunately for the Wildcats, is still moving as well. Minute 4 to play here. They're going quickly. Ball is at the 44-yard line of Greenville. 35-7, the Green Devils lead. 56 seconds and counting. Quillen at quarterback, 2 receivers to his left, 1 lone running back. He is going to drop straight back to pass, feeling pressure, pass across the middle, and he stumbles forward, fumbles the ball, picked up, though, on a nice convenient hop by a Green Devil trailing the play, and he picks up about 12 yards on the play, moving the ball into Wildcat territory at the 44-yard line. Very convenient hop there. First and 10 Greenville, and a timeout is asked for. One of the Wildcats. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. 35-7. Greenville back in 60 seconds.
Got 3 seconds or so left. At the end of it, we'll have like a 3-minute commercial. Let you know we're going to come back and thank you guys for the rest of the I'll let you know exactly what this gauge time and we're going to take care of where we're back there. I'll come and get you guys.
The injured Wildcat, Price Davis, jumps to his feet and heads over to the Oak Ridge sideline. It'll be first down, 10 yards to go. Ball is at the 44-yard line of the Wildcats. Clock is moving. 37 seconds to play here in the first half. 35-7 the score. Quillen at quarterback. He's going to hand it off to the back. It's a reverse on the right side to number 12. He's trying to get outside, cuts back inside, and busts free across the 30. And Brandon Hayward's going to drag him down at around the 19-yard line. Execution, the Wildcats got sucked in on that play. Luckily, Brandon Hayward was still able to get an angle and make a stop before he would have taken it in for the sixth touchdown of the night.
Yeah, and the thing that's going to go unnoticed about that play is the near side cornerback. He was all alone on this side, Elijah Rogers. He didn't make the play, but what he did was keep outside containment. So even though that was a long gain, if Isaiah had gotten sucked inside, there would have been nobody on the sideline. Him forcing that running back to cut back towards the middle momentarily helped allow Brandon to be able to come over there and make the tackle.
From the 21-yard line, first and 10, quarterback Quillen's a pass, end zone. Pass there, man is not. Knocked around and knocked down by Oak Ridge. Defending Wildcat was Dallas Frent, the sophomore. 17.6 seconds to play. First half, second down, 10 yards to go.
Really nice play, diving effort by Dallas. It's one he definitely thinks he should have had based off his reaction. It would have been a great effort to do so. He laid out for it, nearly ended the Greenville drive. 17 seconds left in this one, second and 10. Greenville at the Oak Ridge 21-yard line, threatening to score before half.
Quillen at quarterback, slot man left, two receivers to the right. The Wildcats creep up on the line. The handoff goes to number 12, and he's going to be driven down, but driven out of bounds. Short gain up to the 18-yard line. That's Quillen again. Timeout is going to be asked for by Greenville. He went out of bounds. That stopped the clock anyway, I do believe, unless I saw it wrong. There's 7.6 seconds, but I guess they want to get their ducks in a row and, have the proper play here. We're Blankenship Field. The Wildcat Band is not here. It is fall break for the Wildcats for Oak Ridge High School. They'll be on fall break next week as well. Got a pep band here. Greenville's got a band here, and they've been loud and proud, providing music entertainment to the crowd here. Kind of a sparse crowd. If you look at the student section, it's probably not even half of what it has been, but a lot of the students obviously have gone to other destinations for fall break. When you've got 2 weeks off in October, you might as well take advantage of still what is kind of good weather, and they're not here, and a lot of community is not here as well. Hopefully listening to our broadcast on FM 92.7, FM 94.7, or streaming on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio, and Channel 15. Greenville has it. Alex Myers, third down, 8 yards to go. The ball is at the 19-yard line, 7.6 seconds. If you're Wildcat secondary, I think you go back to just not allowing him to get in the end zone. It'll be third down. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, you got to put your heels at that goal line and not, try to keep everything in front of you. But if you're the defensive line, you can't let the quarterback, who's talented, sit back there all day. You got to get some pressure on him.
Here's a screen pass. I thought they might go with a double pass. He makes a move on the Wildcat back, and he moves the ball close to the 10-yard line. We're down to no time on the clock. They will not get into the end zone unless they determine there is some time left on the clock. I don't see a flag which would stop the play here. It is the end of the first half according to the scoreboard. I have yet to see the official pick the ball up over his head. He's got it in his left hand, and over his head it goes. That is indeed the signal for the end of the first half. So Wildcats stop that drive there, but unfortunately, they trail it 35-7. I guess what you could say, Alex Myers, his turnovers, obviously huge. I think there were 4 in the first quarter. The Green Devils took full advantage of them. The Wildcats have shot themselves in the foot with some penalties at crucial times, which they seem to have unfortunately had the habit of doing this season, and they find themselves down by 4 touchdowns, still in the ball game, but they've got to play better football. They've got to be more disciplined. They've got to do better things to get back in this game. Your thoughts on the first half?
I mean, there's not going to be expert analysis by me, David. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about other that you didn't say. I mean, there's a lot of turnovers, and it's deja vu all over again, unfortunately for the Wildcats, because it's just been the same story, same song and dance a different week. Unfortunately, instead of it happening throughout the game, it seemed like all those mistakes, not penalties as much this time, but just turnovers, self-inflicted turnovers, all happened one right after the other. And like you said, the defense, they actually came out with a really big key stop to begin the game, and it was a really great start. And then all of a sudden, before the offense was even on the field, there was a muffed punt, and then from there, it just all went downhill. So just very unfortunate, very disappointing. But, I like that the Wildcats, at least late in that half, they still continued to fight and show some want to, if you will, show some pride, and hopefully they'll continue to do that after this halftime.
The Greenville Green Devil Band is about to perform down on Blankenship Field. We are at Blankenship Field, the 7th game of the season. Greenville comes in at 7-0. The Wildcats 3-3 on the year. Next night, the final regular season game here at Blankenship Field. Hopefully the Wildcats will get an opportunity to host some playoff ball games. We're going to talk a little volleyball coming up in a moment. The Lady Wildcat volleyball team winning the district championship yesterday, knocking off the West High Lady Rebels. They'll be in regional action against Heritage on Tuesday at Maryville High School. We're going to have an opportunity to speak to a couple of those players and on that volleyball team. Halftime score, the Wildcats trailing 35-7. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. When we come back, we'll talk some volleyball. We'll also have Mark Hayes' scoring summary and statistics. Halftime score, 35-7. We'll be back to Blankenship Field in 3 minutes.
Welcome back to Blankenship Field. Alex Myers up here. Thank you, David Clary. As we're at halftime, your score is 35-7. The Greenville Green Devils are on in the lead. But as much as we wasn't quite so positive in that first half, we have a couple of standout volleyball players joining us in the booth now. It's not often we talk volleyball. I told these two young ladies as they came in here that I don't know much about volleyball, and I'm not going to pretend I do. So I'm going to let you guys carry it. We have Kylan Barger and Peyton Updegraff, correct? Okay, so tell me, I'll start with Kylan first. Tell me what you guys did yesterday. You had a huge win for your season.
We played really well as a team, and collectively we just clicked together and worked really hard to get that win.
And that win was not just any win. It was to secure the district championship, right? And just tell me, Kylan, about what that feels like to win a district championship.
It feels great knowing that me and Peyton and our other captain, Lily, helped lead our team. And we just worked so hard to get to that point. We worked through all our season, just crushing and just doing our best to get through it. And
Peyton, as someone who has been a part of that win, I know you guys are celebrating it, but that's not it, right? You've got a big game, or match, I should say, coming up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we'll be playing next week at Maryville. That'll be our regional tournament, and we're really looking forward to those games, hoping that all goes well. And after that, the next step should be sub-state.
So what do you guys do? You know, I played basketball, played a little football, didn't play volleyball. So in this week or so that you've got a break, what does that look like for you? Are you practicing every day? What is sort of that preparation going to look like?
I'd say that, our Coach Audrey has been definitely making sure that we're very disciplined this season, making sure that we're on top of our game. So really, I think our plan is practice as much as we can and work together as a team and hopefully do well next week.
That's Peyton Updegraff. And now, Kylan, you're here with me as well. Coach Sherrills, I believe this is her first season, right? Or second?
First season as head coach.
And she played a little bit, I think she was like a senior when I was entering into high school. And so I know it's one thing to coach and take pride in that. Do you guys feel like there's a little something extra with Coach Sherrills since she played at Oak Ridge? Can you tell sometimes it means a little bit more to her?
Absolutely. She is so invested emotionally and just in the sport in general. She has such a love for the game, and it just comes through her coaching completely.
That's Kylan. Kylan, I want to give each of you one last thing to say. If you could encourage folks, because people come out to these football games, people come out to the basketball games, they know where to find that. They know on Fridays they can come up here. Volleyball, maybe not so much. So if somebody wants to come out, maybe they're hearing this for the first time, maybe they didn't know about your guys' success, but they want to come out and see you. Peyton, each one of you sort of tell us why they should come out and tell us when the next opportunity, where they can go to watch that.
Definitely. So I think volleyball is such like a personal game. You can hear and see everything that's happening. You see reactions and emotions, and it's very just real. And I think our next game will be at Maryville High School at, I believe it's 6 for our regional tournament. You should definitely come out. It's going to be a great game. We're playing against Heritage, so we're looking forward to that.
Kylan, any last words for those listening?
We're a very emotionally connected team. We're all very close, and we've worked so hard, and there's such a passion on the court, and I just think it would be a great game to come watch and support.
That's Kylan Barger talking along with Peyton Updegraff. Kylan and Peyton, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Congrats on the district championship, and certainly great luck. All of Oak Ridge is behind you guys.
Thank you so much.
Brian Bennett, let's take a 3-minute timeout, and when we come back, we'll have first half stats from Blankenship Field. Welcome back into Blankenship Field. Alex Myers joined now by the great Mark Hayes doing stats. I wanted to make a quick note, and I apologize. I didn't ask when I should have while Peyton Updegraff, one of the volleyball players that was with us a moment ago, was here. And we did ask an update on her twin brothers, who are two twins that are now at West Point, I believe. And she said they're loving it. They're not playing sports, but she said they're having a great time, and she's looking forward to seeing them at Thanksgiving. So a nice update from her, from a couple of former Wildcat basketball players. Mark, you've got the first half stats.
Thank you very much, Alex. As you said, Oak Ridge trails at the half, 35-7 to Greenville. Looking at the statistics, first for Oak Ridge, they're led on the ground by DeJovis Dozier. He has 4 carries for 13 yards. Jai Hunley, 3 carries, netting 0 yards. Brendan Hayward has 1 carry for -4 yards. That was a fumble. And then Ethan Garza, 2 carries, netting -6 yards. So as a team, the Wildcats have carried the ball 10 times, gaining 3 yards on the ground. Through the air, much more successful. Quarterback for the Wildcats, Ethan Garza. He's 5 of 11 for 101 yards. He does have 1 interception on the night. His long was for 56 yards. Receiving that 56-yard pass was Brandon Hayward. He had a 56-yard touchdown reception, the lone touchdown for the Wildcats. Also receiving for the Wildcats was Elijah Rogers. He has a 29-yard reception. DeJovis Dozier has 2 receptions, totaling 11 yards. And then Connor Cummings has a 5-yard reception. So looking at the team as a whole, on the ground, 3 yards on 10 carries. Through the air, 101 yards on 5 receptions for a total offense in the first half of 104 yards. Wildcats have accumulated 3 first downs in the first half. They have been penalized 5 times for 55 yards. Now looking at Greenville, they're led on the ground by number 12, Carson Quillen. He has 13 carries for 131 yards. That's an average of 10.1 yards per carry. His long tonight is 36 yards. Brady Quinlan he has 8 carries for 43 yards. Damian Short, 7 carries for 26 yards. And Emmanuel Dixon has 19 yards on 4 carries. So as a team, Greenville has carried the ball 32 times, totaling 219 yards on the ground. Through the air, quarterback for Greenville, Brady Quillen. He's 5 of 10 for 58 yards. Receiving for Greenville, Adaja Dabbs has 49 yards on 4 receptions, and Mason Laws has a 9-yard reception. So as a team, Greenville, on the ground, as I said, 219 yards on 32 carries, 58 yards through the air on 5 receptions for a total offense tonight of 277 yards in the first half. Greenville's accumulated 12 first downs in the first half. They have 2 penalties, totaling 25 yards. So looking at the team side by side, rushing yards, Oak Ridge 3, Greenville 219. Passing yards, Oak Ridge 101, Greenville 58. Total offense, Oak Ridge with 104 total offensive yards, Greenville with 277 first downs. Oak Ridge has 3, Greenville 12. Penalties, Oak Ridge 5 for 55 yards. Greenville 2 for 25 yards. Again, this is Mark Hayes, where we're at the half. Oak Ridge trails 35-7, and we'll be back after this 2-minute timeout.
David Clary back here at Blankenship Field. We were at halftime. The Wildcats are trailing 35-7. And Alex, I know you're going to get mad here. There's a minute 37 left on the clock and counting. The Wildcats haven't even emerged down from the dressing room. Greenville's already warming up down below. Greenville's band performed at halftime and did a very, very fine job just a moment ago. And the Oak Ridge Band not here. It's fall break. Most of their band members are not available to play. But Greenville's already warming up down there, and no sign of the Wildcats except for the kickers down on the field. I see that I think the Wildcats are starting to move down here. But, you know, if they wanted to, they could call a delay a game on the Wildcats. They should be down the steps here. Greenville is. The Wildcats are down 35-7. Your thoughts in the first half? And excellent interview there with the volleyball ladies. I'm glad that they won the district, obviously, anytime any Oak Ridge team wins, but I was glad to hear them, and I love those uptographs. Just can't say enough what a great family they are. But your thoughts on the first half, and what do the Wildcats have to do in the second?
Yeah, I appreciate those girls helping carry that interview because, admittedly, I don't know very much about volleyball, but great to hear them. Great to hear about the update about the Uptigraph twins who are doing well. And as far as the first half, you know, you're right, David. You're going to have to make me say it. Our streak is going to continue even though there was only one band that played, where we're going to have to add more time on the clock. And you're right, they could call delay a game, and, well, it wouldn't be the first if they called it. A rough watch. I mean, it's just a type of game where I'm looking down and there's 2 or 3 loyal fans that are clapping as the players are coming down, but not much more than that. Is you know, a lot more folks, honestly, than I thought have stuck around. And I'm glad to see that because, like you said, these are kids, and the one thing that I'll say about Coach Cummings' team to this point in the game is they have not quit. I mean, they haven't played well. That's for sure, and that's, you know, obvious if you look at the scoreboard. But the team did not quit, and they continued to battle. Obviously, you don't like what you see in large part, but I certainly like that. You know, you never want to see a team quit, and this team has not. And so going forward as we turn the page to the next 2 quarters, David, that's what I'm looking for if I was a coach on this staff is, you know, just making sure these kids don't quit, you know, making sure that you're getting some guys some time maybe that hasn't gotten it before, and sort of trying to get some positive momentum because ultimately you've got some region ball games coming up that you're fighting for playoff spots right now and trying to ultimately host a playoff game here at Oak Ridge High School that's still in play.
You know, the Wildcats right now find themselves in second place in the region behind the undefeated Powell Panthers. I guess the biggest surprise tonight is the Clinton-Lenoir City score. Clinton's still trailing at the half, although it's only 10-7. That Clinton team, their non-schedule has not been a tough one by any stretch of the imagination. They're 0-3 in the region, and struggling probably against that single wing. That single wing that Lenoir City throws out there, they're pretty hard to defend. That's not a bad Lenoir City team, but just for Clinton's sake and Clinton's fans' sake, they've got to win or they're not going to the playoffs for the second consecutive year under Coach Keith.
Yeah, that would be the Oak Ridge is probably the most heartbreaking loss they've had this season, but that would be probably the worst loss because that's a team that ultimately you think and expect to win if you're Clinton going into that ball game. And you know, it's crazy because, like you said, not watching the game, you don't really know what's going on, but you would almost think it would have to be some sort of issue going against that single wing. Is in the modern day 2022 high school football, it's tough enough as it is. It's even harder when you pair that against the pass happy sort of run and shoot style offense that they faced just a week ago against Campbell County on Thursday night. They did have an extra day to prepare for it, but still, it's 2 totally opposite styles of football that they faced on back-to-back weeks.
Next, we'll take on the Carnes Beavers. Carnes defeated Oak Ridge last year. It was the Deshaun Bishop show, and that's pretty much the way it's been this year, but an old friend of the Wildcat football program, and me personally, and you, Hayden Tarwater, former Wildcat quarterback. He's the quarterback of the Carnes Beavers, and he's been their player of the week on 3 different occasions this year. So he's having a good season over at Carnes, and he'll be coming to Blankenship Field for a Thursday night ball game. o'clock kickoff next Thursday here at Blankenship Field. That is a region ball game. Then the Wildcats finish the season on the road at Kingsport, Dobbins, Bennett, and then the final game, a region game at Campbell County. The Wildcats with a victory over Carnes would assure them, I believe, a home playoff ball game. That Campbell County team will have something to say about that as well. Your thoughts about what the Wildcats have to do? Like you said, just kind of be steady, play hard, and just do the things that you've been coached to do, and hopefully play for some pride and maybe get back into it. And Greenville, on the other hand, maybe they'll come out complacent. This is a good Greenville team, and I don't want anybody from Greenville who might be watching us to take this wrong, but I think the Wildcats were their own worst enemy. There is no way in the world they are 35-7 better at halftime than the Wildcats. Good football team. They're undefeated for a reason, but we created the mess that we're in right now, and hopefully the Wildcats can get out of it here in the second half.
Yeah, and this is not going to be popular amongst Oak Ridge folks, but I'm just going to say it's a better football team than Oak Ridge right now, how they're playing. I mean, and it just, to me, it would be doing a disservice to the fans and to Greenville to not admit that. That being said, you're absolutely right. They're not 28 points better in the first quarter than Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge is a very good football team, the capability to be very good, I should say, but obviously have not been so far in this one.
Here's the second half kickoff fielded by the Wildcats and return to about the 17-yard line on the near sideline. And then there's a late hit on Greenville, and that's going to give Oak Ridge a couple extra yards. So the Wildcats will start this drive. First down, 10 yards to go. It was a short kick. It was kind of angling out of bounds, and then it was fielded. There was not a whole lot of room on the near sideline, which is the Oak Ridge sideline. And then there was a late hit or some kind of a penalty against Greenville, and the Wildcats are going to get better field position, I do believe.
Yeah, and that's what, it's a break, right? And so when you get the breaks in this type of game, you've got to just continue to try to build some momentum now. And it was a late hit along the sideline. And again, it's always a bad penalty to get a late hit, but it's just incredibly, well, it's not smart to do it, especially so when you do it in front of the opposing team's bench, because obviously all the coaches are right there in the official's ear telling them it's a late hit, and that's exactly what happened, and it's going to be 1st and 10 Oak Ridge. They start this drive from their own 32-yard line.
Moving away from Jackson Square, the Wildcat quarterback is Ethan Garcia. High snap, feels it, pushes it out to Dozier. Dozier pushed out of bounds at around the 36-yard line. The snap was high, and that's one of the good things about Ethan Garza. He's tall, and he was able to go up and kind of pull it down. He also plays basketball in the Wildcat basketball program, or has and he was able to pull it down and make a positive gain on that particular play.
He was, and he's athletic, and he's able to sort of make something out of nothing sometimes. He did it at Powell once or twice. He did it right then. It was interesting. Before that play started, that was the first play from scrimmage of the second half, David. 13 seconds had run off the clock. That kickoff return did not take 13 seconds, but not sure where that came from.
Almonte Rimbert on the carry, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds just shy of the 38-yard line. Hard hit on the Oak Ridge sideline. Greenville starting to put some pads on the Wildcats. That's a gain on the play. Not enough for a first down. Looking at it, it'll be 3rd down, 3 yards to go. 11:35 to play here in the third period. 35-7, Greenville on top. My name is David Clary, along with Alex Myers, Drew Thomas, Alex Baraxa, along with Josh Frazier and Cody Jordan. Doing camera work, Brian Bennett back at the station. Mark and Shauna Hayes doing our statistics. Appreciate you listening to our broadcast or watching it on our YouTube channel. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. The Wildcats desperately need a first down. They're going to get it. Brandon Hayward makes the reception at the 45, to the 50, to the 45. Brandon Hayward already with a 56-yard touchdown to his credit. In this one, has a 10 Bank of Oak Ridge first down.
Probably his most productive game offensively since that opening night win over at South Doyle, where he had a very nice start to that ball game. Nice to see Brandon sort of getting into a rhythm a little bit.
It'll be first down, 10 yards to go. As I mentioned, a 10 Bank of Oak Ridge first down. The ball inside Greenville territory at the 38-yard line. They're moving towards the scoreboard end, the away from Jackson Square. The Wildcats will have Brandon Hayward, Almonte Rimbert split to the left side. The Wildcats with a receiver here to the right. That is Elijah Rogers. The Wildcats have a slot man at the tight end position, and that is Brian Kelly. Garza to pass. Pass is going to be overthrown, incomplete. Looked like Elijah might have gotten tangled up with a guy at around the 15-yard line. It's a harmless incompletion. Second down, 10 yards to go.
And with the exception of unfortunately, the one interception was the play that it really happened on. But other than that one pass, Garza's misses have been long. And, I think if you're a coach, more times than not, if you're going to miss, you need to miss long. That way the defensive backs can't get in there and try to have it shot at interception.
From the 38-yard line, second down, 10 yards to go. The Wildcats now with 3 receivers split to the left of the quarterback. Dozier in the backfield. A little screen pass is complete, and they're going to lose yardage on the play. There was a kind of a line drive bullet pass out there. It was caught, but they're going to lose 2 yards on the play back to the 40-yard line, bringing up third down and 12 yards to go. Connor Cummings will be a receiver split out to the right side. Third down, 12, I believe, for them. Raleigh are at the 40-yard line. They need to get to around the 28-yard line for a first. Wildcats down 35-7 in the third quarter. Garza rolls to his left, has running room, is going to dump it, end zone pass there, man is there. It's incomplete. At the last second, the defensive back for the Greenville Green Devils kind of disrupted the concentration and might have even deflected the pass away from Elijah Rogers. It's incomplete. It's fourth down and 12 yards to go.
It was a nice play by the defensive back, really enabled because that ball was a little bit underthrown. Elijah had his man beat, but boy, I know that was underthrown, but David, you've said it before. Ethan Garza throws a really pretty deep ball, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a really nice arm, and he really, that was not one of his better efforts right there, but he's got a great arm. As he'll drop back to pass, rolls to his right, screen pass caught by Dozier. Dozier 40. The outside, he'll not pick up a first down, though. He's going to be tackled at the 34-yard line there. Had to go 12 yards, and Dozier caught it. It was a low pass, made the most out of what he could, but it's going to be the ball turned over on downs to Greenville. The Wildcats with a promising drive there comes to nothing, and the Greenville Green Devils will take over first and 10 at their own 34-yard line. They lead the Wildcats 35-7 with exactly 9 minutes and 49 seconds to play in the third period.
And, for once, Oak Ridge didn't stop themselves. You got to give credit to Greenville that time. Greenville just came up with a stop, but Oak Ridge forced Greenville to stop them. They didn't stop themselves.
Nice defensive play by the Wildcats. Brady Quillen is the quarterback. He handed it off to Damian Short, and he is blasted in the backfield. The Wildcats brought everybody up on the line, smelled it out perfectly there, and they for a loss of about a yard or two. Nice play by Oak Ridge.
Really nice play. Again, the defensive line, sort of a bright spot in this game, making some plays, disrupting in the backfield early on that play.
Second down, 11 yards to go. Once again, Quillen, the Wildcats jump all across the line. That's going to be a 5-yard step off. Just a little bit too anxious to get across the line there. 5-yard step off against the Wildcats. Part of our broadcast is being brought to you by the Carmen DeLong for City Council Treehouse, which is located directly behind the visitors section at Blankenship Field. You might have seen it. It's white, and if you've got a radio in the stands, it's got an orange bow on it, and she's running for City Council. You can vote for her November the 8th. Facility up across the field of Blankenship Field, overlooking and towards the home section. Second down, 6 yards to go. Once again, pressure, pass, caught. And up the field, here come the Green Devils. The stop is made, though, at the 44-yard line. Stop is made by Elijah Rogers and Elijah Bradley. Right at the sticks, they're going to call it a first down for the Green Devils, and they're going to go with tempo here. First and 10, 8:38 to play here in the third period. Brady Quillen at quarterback. And there's movement again. This time, I think, movement by the offensive line of Greenville, and I think that's going to cost them 5.
It is, and interesting on that conversion, David. The officials, it was very, very close. I don't think they've brought the ball out for a measurement all game, There was another questionable first down earlier they didn't even think to measure. That one, they waved it on without a measure either. It's just interesting because there's been several close calls. Not that that's the difference in the game, but it's just interesting to note.
First down, 15 yards to go for the Green Devils once again. Quillen back to pass. Pass across the way. Pass is caught right at the 45-yard line. Then a big hit by the Wildcats. Oak Ridge brought pressure on him, and he was able to get rid of the pass, but he was feeling some pressure. There was a lot of Cardinal shirts right in his face. It'll be a gain on the play, but it'll be second down and long. Second down, we'll call it a long 8 to go for a first down. Greenville on top, 35-7. 7.5 minutes to play in the third period. The ball is at their own 46-yard line. They are moving towards Jackson Square wearing their all-white jerseys with green numerals. The Wildcats in their white football pants, a double stripe of Cardinal down those pants, Cardinal jerseys, and white numerals. Second down, 9, handoff running back, and he moves the ball to the 49-yard line, and he's stacked up at that point by the Wildcat defense. The stop is made right at the center by Tim Waters, Brian Kelly, and it'll be third down facing the Green Devils. Third down and 5. The ball at the Green Devil 49. And they're going quick here. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the left. To the right side as well. My apologies. The Wildcats showing blitz once again. Play has changed at the line of scrimmage. Given to him by the head coach of the Green Devils to the quarterback. Play clock is down to 26 seconds. High snap. Pass, boom. What a big hit. Ball is incomplete. The quarterback just got leveled. He got leveled there by Bashawn Knowles. He's lucky he was able to get up, and the Wildcats get a stop.
Yeah, but Bashawn Knowles and Brian Kelly both just reeling in on that quarterback as he stepped in to throw that ball, and he did step into it, but boy, he got rocked, especially by Bashawn coming off that far side edge. Really nice stop there for the Wildcat defense. 2 deep men back, Rimbert and Hayward for Oak Ridge. Boy, it'd be nice to get a little spark in the return game, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Fourth down, 5 yards to go. We're down to 6.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. 35-7 is our score. Play is halted again. Kind of a stiff breeze beginning to blow here at Blankenship Field. It's very comfortable, though. I mean, the temperatures are supposed to get down into the 50s tonight, but there is a little bit of a breeze blowing here as play is halted and a timeout asked for and signaled for by the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats. Next week, it's Oak Ridge and Carnes. It is senior night. There's a good group of seniors that'll be perhaps playing their final game at Blankenship Field, although with a victory over Carnes, a victory over Campbell County, the Wildcats will assure themselves of a home playoff ball game. The Wildcats last year, with that loss to Carnes, Wildcats lost to Powell, lost to Carnes, but did beat Lenore City, Clinton, for the 12th consecutive year last year, and then they beat Campbell County as well, but they finished third and had to go on the road to McMinn County. The Wildcats with a victory over Carnes, which they did not do last year, and a victory over Campbell County. They will most definitely be back at Blankenship Field. And Coach Cummings has told both of us several times in our interviews that's what they want, a home playoff ball game here at Blankenship Field.
Yeah, and for the seniors in particular, that's who you really want this for. And the sort of the light at the end of the tunnel when you look back at this game is that ultimately it doesn't really affect the playoff seeding for Oak Ridge. And you look across the way, if that Clinton score holds, that would be big news around the region.
We're going to talk a little bit more about classifications here in a bit. Here's a short punt by Greenville. Peter is being yelled out, and the ball rolls dead around the 20-yard line. The numbers came out here recently. The TSSAA decided not to go ahead and reclassify, but the Wildcats, and I talked to Coach Gaddis about this. He's the athletic director now at Oak Ridge High School, if you didn't know that. The Wildcats will either be the smallest 6A school or the largest 5A school when they do reclassify in 2 years. But as it stands right now, the Wildcats would be a 6A team. We'll talk about that after this play. 10 yards to go for the Wildcats. The ball is at the 21-yard line. 35-7 is our score. 6:07 to play in the third period. Ethan Garza at quarterback for the Wildcats. He's gone all the way in his second start as an Oak Ridger. And here comes the handoff, and there's good running room. The Javis Dozier not finding it as easy to carry the ball against his Greenville team as he did obviously last week against Powell. Greenville, the number one team in the state. Your thoughts on perhaps moving back to 6A? That means back with Maryville, back with Bearden, back with Farragut in the region. Once again, they're going quickly. We'll talk about that maybe after this play. Second down, 3 yards to go. Gain of 7 on the previous play. Garza's pass is going to be caught at the 35-yard line for a 10 Bank of Oak Ridge. First down, Elijah Rogers. Your thoughts on perhaps moving to 6A?
I'd rather not, David. I mean, you know, we're struggling a bit right now in 5A, and obviously you'd love to see the Oak Ridge population explode again, and I think that it has to an extent, but certainly for your athletic program, your football program, 5A would be a better spot to be.
You know, you say that, and we are struggling a bit. If you look at the games, though, that we have lost, obviously Powell's good. They're the defending state champions. We lost to 6A Bearden. We lost to 6A Farragut. We, lost to Powell, obviously, for our third loss, and this is the number one team in 4A. So we're beating the teams in 5A, like Clinton and, other teams, but we're struggling against those teams. Might be better to stay in 5A, but we don't have any control of that at all. There's going to be a pass complete to Jai Hunley. Haven't said Jai's name much tonight, and that's kind of a surprise. The Wildcats have gone mainly with Dozier and throwing to other receivers, but Jai with a catch here in the fourth quarter, but it's third down and 11 yards to go.
And he's actually played quite a bit, but like you said, interestingly, he hasn't really gotten many touches. He's played most of the game at that slot receiver position, now working more as a tight end on this play.
Garza doesn't have much time. He throws a near interception. He was trying to get it, I believe, to Izzy Mitchell. Pass was just a little bit underthrown and almost picked off, and the Wildcats will be forced to punt. So we have the same score we had at halftime. 4.5 minutes to play third quarter. Neither team able to get anything going on their drives. The Wildcats get Brennan Pearson in the punt.
You got to protect this punt because Greenville got really close to blocking a punt early in this ball game. Then there weren't a lot of punts because of the turnovers, but I would not be surprised if Greenville doesn't try to come after this one. Actually, it looks like they're going to play it safe.
Here's the punt. It's a short one. It takes a good Oak Ridge bounce inside the 30. It's going to roll inside the 25 and go dead at around the 24-yard line. I mentioned this earlier. Brennan Pearson is averaging nearly 40 yards per punt. It's like 39.43 yards. There's a flag down right at the line of scrimmage, and we'll see what the officials say. We're down to 4:18 to play in the third quarter, 35-7. The Wildcats 3-3 on the year. They are 2-1 in region play, with 2 region games to go, as I mentioned, against Karnes and Campbell County. The Green Devils, the number one team in 4A, they were number one last year when we played them up in Greenville. They are 7-0. I guess the most impressive victory they have this year is against the Dobbins-Bennett Indians. At least that always impresses me. 21-20, they beat Dobbins-Bennett. That's a team we'll play in 2 weeks. That's kind of scary, is it not?
It definitely is, especially when you look at this game is at home. That game is on the road for us, very, very far out. And sorry, David, I was getting distracted by our cameraman up here. But yeah, that's, you never expect that Dobbins-Bennett game to be easy. But hearing that they played this Greenville team, talented Greenville team that tough is certainly not a great sign.
15-yard penalty against the Wildcats. Grasping of the face mask. Give the Greenvilles the ball at the 39-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Brady Quillen at quarterback. Man comes in motion. That is Dabbs. He comes back to the left, back to the right. Handoff goes. There's a big collision in the backfield, and Damian Short is short of the line of scrimmage. He is dropped by Elijah Bradley and company back to the 36-yard line. Brian Kelly, anytime there's a big play, you can guess that number 33 is going to be around it. Play second down and 13. Good defensive play by Oak Ridge.
Definitely was, and Elijah Bradley all year, he seems to make timely plays, and there he was again, so long and rangy coming off that edge.
Second down, 13 yards to go for the Green Devils, 3:54 to play. Quillen a pass, pressured, pass across the way, nice catch. Brandon Hayward makes the stop right around the 42-yard line, but a really, really nice catch there by Mason Laws. Really nice grab, just kind of snatched it out of the air. Brandon was right on him and immediately made the tackle, but a nice gain, a first down for the Green Devils.
And, their quarterback, Brady Quillen, he's just been really impressive, David. A senior, and boy, he plays like it. He's never standing still back in the pocket, kind of got happy feet, but he has to. He's not a real tall guy, but he moves around there, finds some throwing lanes, and boy, he's poised back there in the pocket.
They're going to hand it off once again to Damian Short, and once again he is driven backwards by the Wildcats. It'll be no gain on the play, and whistles blow, and there's one of the Wildcats down on the field there. We have another injury timeout. Brian Leffler, no, he's going to stay. I guess that's Elijah, might be cramping, and not surprising there. He hasn't played since the Bearden ball game, broke his collarbone. We've had two. I don't know that I remember more collarbones. Well, in the varsity level, actually, if you go back to the freshman year of the current juniors, David Wilson and Nehemiah Elmore broke their collarbones all in the same ball game, freshman game in Hardin Valley. But this year, Connor Cummings broke his collarbone at Carson Newman when we were playing Anderson County. And then Elijah broke his collarbone, not quite as badly as Connor did at the Bearden ball game, and they're both back. That's modern technology in medical technology. Back in the day, you never would have been back that early for a broken bone, especially a broken collarbone.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a guy at Blake Steed down there, and that's a key piece of this defense too. One of your better defenders. Talked about him all preseason. There was a lot of hype around him, and to see him go out with an injury not long ago, it's tough. This team has been injury-ridden all season, but again, so nice to see number 9 and number 1, Connor Cummings and Elijah, back out there so quickly after such a really tough injury.
2nd and 13, Quillen back to pass. Pass is going to be caught, and they make the reception at the 40, moves the ball to the 35, and across the 35 up to the 33. It was third and 13 at that point. Laws on the reception once again. 2:35 to play in the third period. It'll be now 3rd down, 2 yards to go. It was 2nd down on the previous play at the 34-yard line. They're heading towards Jackson Square. Carmen DeLong, let me ask you a question. Why are you running for city council?
Because Oak Ridge is the greatest city really in the world. In World War II, we saved the free world, the people here. This is the greatest generation, and the older parts of the city are in disrepair. And I just want to say a shout out to all of Oak Ridgers in the older part of the city. I'm running for you. I feel your pain. I live here too, and I love you guys.
Nice defensive play there by the Wildcats. It's a loss on the play, a loss of 4. It'll be 4th down, 6 yards to go. Alex, what happened?
Interesting that Greenville is going to not punt here up big, but I guess at this spot in the field, it's a little bit tough. Tough situation as Quillen's going to step to the line, needing about 7 here on 4th down. Bring a man in motion, got to the left. They got 5 wide on 4th and 7. Quillen's going to drop back. Easy dump pass to the 40, down to the 35, crossing to the first down, and all the way down to the 20.
The 30 and down to around the 25-yard line, and that is indeed a first down with 1:15 to play. Third quarter, Vashawn Knowles there on the stop for the Wildcats. Officially, they push him out. See where they're going to put the chains down. They're going to put him out at the 23-yard line where it'll be first down, 10 yards to go. 4 turnovers in the first quarter. And just like that, the Wildcats were down big, and they have played much better football, Alex, since then, but they're still down 4 touchdowns. Need a stop again here. First down, 10 yards to go at the 23-yard line, heading towards Jackson Square. Hand off to the running back, and once again, the Wildcats, they seem to be making really nice plays on first down. They have been able to stop them in the backfield. It'll be 2nd down and 10 yards to go. LaMichael Galloway there on the stop. Under a minute to play, third quarter.
Yeah, and Oak Ridge is just simply sort of pinning their ears back and being really aggressive because Greenville is not Well, they're being a little bit more predictable than they were in the first half. Their quarterback, Quillen, I think with the big lead, is not keeping it on those RPOs quite as much. And so Oak Ridge is sort of keying off and teeing off on the fact that they're going to give the ball to the running back more times than not on those first down situations. And as a result, you're seeing Oak Ridge have a lot of success on early downs.
I agree with that wholeheartedly as they hand the ball off once again. They move the ball up to the 25. Could have been the final play of the third period. We're down to 23 seconds and counting. It'll be for Greenville. Long facing the Green Devils. The ball inside the 30-yard line. Officially, the ball is at the 25-yard line, and that was indeed going to be the final play of the third period. We have played 3 quarters of football here at Blankenship Field. The Wildcats, unfortunately, trail the Green Devils, the number 1 team in the state, 35-7. We'll be back with the 4th and final quarter in 60 seconds.
This is mine.
Blankenship Field, the 4th and final quarter about set here. The Wildcats watching Greenville have a 3rd down and 12. The ball is resting at the 25-yard line. They're now moving away from Jackson Square, leading 35-7 over the Wildcats. Wildcats showing blitz. Quillen about to be sacked. Getting away, fires a pass. It's going to be caught right at the 22-yard line. Whether he was in bounds, it's incomplete. So it's going to be 4th down facing the Green Devils. 4th down and 12. Obviously, they'll go for it. Same score we had at halftime, Alex Myers. Nobody has scored at all.
Yeah, and I think Greenville's taken their foot off the gas just to an extent. They've still thrown some, but the quarterback's not keeping it as much, and he had a lot of success in that in the first half. But give Oak Ridge credit. All I wanted to see was heart and them not to quit here in the second half, and they have not done that, David. They've continued to play hard, and I appreciate that as a fan.
I agree. Here's the pass in the end zone. Pass is going to be incomplete. And it'll be actually the Wildcats taking over on down. So a good stop defensively for Oak Ridge as Quillen tried to get it to Dabbs. It was overthrown, incomplete, and we're down to 11:45 to play the ballgame. Next week, the Wildcats will close out their home schedule here at Blankenship Field, at least the regular season. Did I just see an update on that Clinton score? Kind of verified.
I think you did.
Lenore City all over the Dragons. Either something's happened to quarterback Keith or I'm reading this wrong. Verify that score for me, Alex.
From what I see unofficially, early 4th quarter, it was 24-7. And I'm with you. I don't understand how Clinton's offense would be sputtering if Keith is out there playing.
Wildcats first down, 10 yards to go. And here comes the handoff left side, Jai Hunley, and he's trying to get outside, but he will not. He's going to lose yardage back around the 23-yard line. It'll be 2nd down facing them. That's the only thing I can figure. Either Keith is not playing quarterback and they've got a backup in, because that offense, obviously against lesser teams, is high-powered. But if that score stands, Clinton will be 0-4 in the region and will not go to the playoffs. It'll be for the Wildcats, 2nd down, 12 yards to go. The ball at the 23. Ethan Pass is going to be dropped, intending it for Elijah Rogers right around the 30-yard line. Elijah's first game back since his collarbone, has at least one reception in the ball game. But unfortunately for the Wildcats, it's going to be 3rd down and 12. The Wildcats trailing it 35-7. The Wildcats scoring their only score on a 56-yard touchdown reception by Brandon Hayward in the second quarter. Neither team has been able to score here in the second half. 3rd down, 12 yards to go. Ball officially resting at the 23-yard line. Ethan straight drop, cranks it, goes deep, pass up for grabs, batted down by the Wildcat receiver. It could have been picked off. It was intended for Connor Cummings, I believe. And that is incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and the Wildcats will send Brennan Pearson out to punt the ball away. Wildcats have just not been able to get that running game when you fell behind so badly at 35-7. I know the game plan for the Wildcats tonight was to run the football, and they weren't really able to do that because they fell behind so quickly, and they've had to go back to the pass. And obviously Ethan last week had over 250 yards passing, but this is a much better team. Greenville's a better team than Powell. Nothing against the Powell Panthers. They were the state champions a year ago, but in my personal opinion, this Greenville team's better. High spiraling kick by Brennan Pearson. Gonna roll and bounce, and it'll be a great punt for him, and the Greenville offense will come out on the field. Your thoughts on the comparison between Greenville and Powell?
I think it's very interesting, David. I would love to watch those two teams play. I think on the outside, skill position-wise, I think Powell has maybe a little bit more. But I think up front, as good as Powell was, Greenville's been really impressive with their strength of their offensive defensive lines. And, boy, those two quarterbacks are very similar. They're undersized, but both with sort of heady senior veteran quarterbacks that like to run around and make things happen with their legs. I think it'd be a very good game, but I certainly am with you that I think Greenville could probably win that game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. The skill guys definitely go to Powell, but the upfront guys to me go to Greenville. Just watching them push back our line all night, just move them, just like they were standing still, has been so impressive to me. And they did that last year against the Wildcats. And I think games are won at the line of scrimmage. And last year Greenville was number 1 when we played them. They got shocked by Elizabethton in the playoffs, a team they've been battling with, and of course Anderson County's in that mix too. But Greenville's up front guys are just fantastic to me. Let's get back to football here. 2nd down, 10 yards to go. 10 minutes to play in the ball game. 35-7. Greenville on top. We appreciate all of you listening to our broadcast or watching it on YouTube. Quillen's going to pass across the way. There was a collision there right at the 40. Allison and the receiver for the Green Devils. Incidental contact. It'll be 3rd down, 10. Alex?
Oak Ridge's defensive backs have played pretty well, I think, against a really dangerous passing attack. Where Greenville's hurt them, even at the quarterback position, a lot of it's been on the ground. And so Oak Ridge has certainly had a couple of passes that potentially could have been intercepted that they weren't able to come up with. But for the most part, Oak Ridge's defensive backfields, I think it's been one of the more bright spots here tonight.
Timeout is asked for by the Green Devils. 35-7 is our score. 9:55 to play in the ballgame. We'll be back to Blankenship Field in 60 seconds. Third down, 10 yards to go. Quarterback Quillen is going to hand it off. There's not much there. It'll be fourth down facing the Green Devils. And I would assume they will bring the punt team in, and they will. The Wildcats will get the ball back. 9:40 and counting in the ball game. The Wildcats down 35-7. All the scoring took place in the first half of the ball game. Wildcats will drop back Almonte Rimbert and Brandon Hayward back to receive the kick. They're standing back at around their own 35-yard line. Fourth down, 10 yards to go, 9:20 to play in the ball game. Play clock is out on both sides, so I'm not really sure how much time is remaining on the play. I guess it's being kept on the field by the officials, but the clocks are not working here at Blankenship. First time I've actually noticed that, and that might be a good thing for us, honestly, as the kick is away. Short kick. It's going to take a bounce. Wildcats got to get away from it. It's going to take a bounce down to around the 30-yard line, and that is where Oak Ridge will take over officially at the 32-yard line. They'll be moving towards Jackson Square with 8:50 to play in the ballgame. Remember, following the ballgame, Mark and Shauna Hayes will have the final statistics. Alex Myers will go down on Blankenship Field to interview the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Scott Cummings, about this game and about the upcoming game against the Carnes Beavers next week on senior night. That'll be a Thursday night ball game, TV ball game. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff. Only home game in the regular season. That'll be at 7 o'clock here at Blankenship Field Thursday night. That'll be one of those Packer ball games on Rivalry Thursday. Oak Ridge on the field here. Ethan Garza still at quarterback. The Wildcats have three receivers to his right. Connor Cummings, the only man to his left. The handoff goes to Hunley. Jai Hunley tried to get outside, and he's going to be dragged down back at the 30-yard line. That's going to be a loss of 2. So Alex, Jai just cannot get anything going here in the ballgame.
No, and he doesn't have a lot of help up front in this one. There hasn't been a lot of holes, but one thing that's interesting, I don't know if you've noticed this, is usually Oak Ridge, they can run between the tackles, but on the games that they haven't been able to, they've had the speed advantage even when they haven't had the strength advantage, and usually they can get outside. Tonight, that has not been the case.
Garza fires a pass, intercepted, and that could be a pick six, and they're going to end zone. That is going to be a touchdown. That time, unfortunately, Ethan was trying to make something happen. He was under heavy pressure. He dodged one man. He dodged another man. He looked up the field, saw a receiver, and tried to get it to him. Didn't realize there was a man standing in between, and they've got a pick six and a touchdown.
And they do in this extra point. If it goes through the uprights, David, the running clock will become a thing. And just unfortunate there, a quarterback trying to make a play, and you can't blame the kid at this point in the game with the score, just trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, he just forced it.
And the kick is on its way. It's up, and it is good. The Wildcats trail it 42-7. One of the worst defeats I can remember in some time. 8:05 to play in the ball game. We'll take a break. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. We'll be back to Blankenship Field with the Green Devil kickoff in 60 seconds. Welcome back to Blankenship Field, where the news is not great if you're a Wildcat fan. Here's a pop-up kick. It's going to be fielded, not fielded by the Wildcats, so they're going to fall on it. Let's see who's got the ball. Wildcats came up on it, but not far enough, and they're going to recover it. A simple pop-up kick, and what you want to do is you want to catch that, call for a fair catch. The ball bounced in front of the receiver, the return man, and they recover it at the 27-yard line. So things going from bad to worse here, Alex.
I mean, that's just, David, that's the type of mistake that you don't even imagine can happen. An onside kick recovered when they didn't kick it onside, and it's just one of those things that can only happen in the type of game that this is, which is just everything that can go wrong has.
Handoff goes on first down for about 2 yards. That's short, carrying the ball. Brian Kelly makes yet another stop for the Wildcats. Mercifully, the clock is moving. 7-11 to play in the ball game, 42-7. This is not a region ball game. It does not count towards the playoffs. It is an ugly loss for the Wildcats, but like I said, their destiny is still in front of them in 5A ball with Carnes and Campbell County to play, and perhaps even a home playoff ball game. Greenville, the number one team in the state, trying to go 8-0 on the year. Another big hit on the quarterback. Passes delivered, complete across the 20 up to the 17-yard line. One thing that is for sure, Alex, Quillen is going to feel his tonight because he has been popped all night by the Wildcats.
Yeah, he'll probably have some highlights from this game. There's no doubt, but he'll also probably be some soreness in the morning. As Oak Ridge is at least going to make him leave here hurting a little bit. But goodness, he's played a really good game, and I've been really impressed by him. Again, the comparison to Jordan Potts, eerily similar, the size, the stature, and just their style of play.
Quick pass is going to be caught inside the 5-yard line, down to the 1-yard line. Once again, he got popped pretty good. Brian Kelly does the sportsmanlike thing and helps him up. That is Price on the reception, and they're knocking on the door once again. They're at the 1-yard line. It's already bad enough. 42-7. Wildcats, the most points they've ever given up in a ball game was to Knoxville Young, 54 points way back in the day. 5:37 to play. They trail 42-7. And I'm going to say it again. And this, no disrespect at all, as there's another touchdown. And I say that nonchalantly just because it was a 1-yard run for Damian Short. And they have yet another score of 5:22 and counting. They will not stop the clock, and the Wildcats are down 48-7. I'm going to say it again, Alex. And anybody from Greenville who's watching or listening to our broadcast, this is no disrespect. They are very good. But they are not as good as 48-7 over the Wildcats as they get ready for another extra point. Ball is down. The kick is on its way. It's up. And it is good, I would assume. I didn't see a signal. 49-7. I'm going to say it, and I believe it. They're good. They're excellent. They're great. I hope they win the state championship in 4A. Well, I say that, but we got some friends in Anderson County that I like and would like to see them do well. But Oak Ridge, and as they've been in just about all their ball games, has shot themselves in the foot several times. And Greenville obviously is a better football team than Oak Ridge right now, for sure. No doubt about that, but not 49-7. That was my point I tried to make to you earlier. Your thoughts?
I would agree to that. And you know, Oak Ridge, you know, the concerning thing is, David, that we continue to say, well, this team is not that much better than Oak Ridge. This team is not this many points better than Oak Ridge. And I agree with you in every instance where you've said it this year. The only problem is, you know, no disrespect at all, but at a certain point, I'm a firm believer in sports that at a certain point in the season, you are what you are. And to this point, Oak Ridge is a team that shoots themselves in the foot. They've got playmakers and they've got the ability, I still think, to be a good football team and to make a run in the playoffs. But right now, you are who you are. And right now, Oak Ridge has struggled over the past several weeks. Coming off the bye, they struggled again, and here again, they're struggling tonight. But I will say this: Oak Ridge has played some really good teams that haven't exactly helped the situation because they've played some really good competition. And after a short return, Oak Ridge will get the ball back in their own territory. But I do agree overall with your point, which is that the gap between these two teams is not a 42-point gap. regardless of what the score says. But Oak Ridge has nobody to blame but themselves.
Amani Rimbert with that short return. They'll start at the 24-yard line. Let's see if they get Blaine Stansberry in at quarterback here, or they're going to continue to go with Garza. Most likely they're going to stay with Garza because this is only his second start ever at quarterback. The injured Peyton Sharp got the first starts of the year. And Ethan needs some time. He needs some time, even in a game like this, because there are bigger fish to fry with Karnes and Campbell County coming up. There's movement all the way across the line. Both sides moving. Let's see who this one's going to go against. We do have a moving clock, and that's embarrassing enough here at Blankenship Field. 4:11 to play in the game, 49-7. For somebody like me, and I was talking to a state champion Wildcat earlier today from back in the 79 and 80 era. Back in the day, this is what we used to do to people. This is what we did to other teams, and it's hard for time Oak Ridge fans to watch this, but there are better days ahead. I mean, this is not the way we're going to be forever, but it is hard to watch right now. I can tell you that, as Dozier gets the handoff and he's going to move the ball and the pile up to the 25-yard line. But these turnovers tonight have been a killer, and that's not really, honestly, been our issue this year. Turnovers have not been the problem. Penalties have been the problem at the wrong time, but these turnovers have really, really been a factor in this one. But most of the fans have left here. The pep band's still playing loudly here. We're down to 3:13 to play. There's no way to sugarcoat it. And there's, like I said, for guys like me who've been around watching Oak Ridge football for all your lifetime and all your parents' lifetime, it's hard for us to watch. It's hard for us to stomach an Oak Ridge team getting beaten at Blankenship Field 49-7. As the Wildcats hand it off to Hundley. He's at the 30 to 35 to the 40, 50. He might take it to the house. Down the field he goes. He's at the 15, 10, into the end zone. Jai Hundley, touchdown. Wildcats all the way down the field for the Wildcats. 74-yard touchdown run by Jai Hundley. And that gives the Oak Ridge fans something to cheer about. And we were talking about Jai Hundley and not getting a whole lot of touches tonight, but he made the most of that one. The Wildcats are on the board.
He absolutely did, Jai. We talked about the speed that Greenville has. Well, he showed his speed that time. His feet were chopping up and down so quickly. Scoot down to the field, and what a play by Jai Hundley. The extra point is blocked, unfortunately. But what Jai Hundley, we know the power he has, David. He showed the speed that time.
And the Wildcats trail at 49-13, 2:40 to play in the ball game. We'll take another timeout. We'll have a running clock, I believe, here in a bit. We'll take a break. We'll send it back to Brian Bennett. We'll be back with an Oak Ridge kickoff in 30 seconds. Brennan Pearson will be kicking off for the Wildcats here. Oak Ridge down 49-13. Under 3 minutes to play in the ball game. Pearson to kick off, and here it is. This time he does hit it well, and that's going to be a touchback. His best kickoff of the night. We have a running clock here. This one's going to be over in 2.5 minutes. So, Alex, two big plays, a 56-yard touchdown reception by Brandon Hayward, and I think a 74. I've got it as 74 yards for Jai Hundley. Two big plays in the ball game, but unfortunately the Wildcats just couldn't sustain. And by the way, that touchdown is sponsored by the class of Oak Ridge High School 1989. That's a 1989 Oak RHS touchdown for the Wildcats, and as was the previous one by Brandon Hayward. But the Wildcats just didn't have much sustained drives during this course of this game.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And giving a lot of credit to Greenville because, as you mentioned, the turnovers are an issue, but in the past it's been flags and penalties. And the penalties really were not an issue tonight. Oak Ridge's inability to move the football was because of turnovers, not penalties. So, that's at least a promising sign going forward. And we'll have to see. I mean, as a coach, it's tough, but you've got to try to take any sort of positive you can in a game like this. And there has at least been a couple.
Our camera personnel tonight, we had Cody Jordan up top. Down on the field, we had Josh Frazier, Alex Baraxa, and Drew Thomas. Our statisticians tonight, Mark and Shauna Haste. Our engineer back at the station is Brian Bennett. Remember, next Thursday night, the Wildcats play here, not a Friday night ball game. Thursday night, it'll be regionally televised on MyVLT. That'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff against the Carnes Beavers. We'll broadcast as well on FM 92.7, FM 94.7, prepradio.com, Oak Ridge Schools Television, Channel 15, and on our YouTube channel, Prep Radio. So if you like Mark Packer, you can watch him. But if you like an Oak Ridge slant to the broadcast, tune us in on the radio or on the internet or on Channel 15. Minute 28 to play in the game, 49-13 Greenville. So Greenville will go to 8-0 on the year, and they'll maintain their first place position in the Associated Press poll, I'm sure, when it comes out on Monday. As the Wildcats will watch Greenville go into the victory formation. They don't want to embarrass Oak Ridge any more than they already have. 49-13 will be your final score. Alex, I see you have made your way down to Blankenship Field through that pretty gate that's right at the base of the steps down there, and hopefully Coach Cummings will let us know exactly what he felt about this ball game and kind of give us some hope for next week when they take on the Carnes Beavers.
It's definitely going to be a highly anticipated matchup next week. Obviously, Hayden Tarwater coming back to his old stomping grounds. Deshaun Bishop, one of the best athletes in all of the state. As Greenville takes a knee, they'll need to do that one more time. Definitely a lot to be intrigued about going into next week's matchup.
Our camera guy, Alex Baraxa, down there with you. Looks like he's already headed up the steps here. 33 seconds to play and counting, 49-13 the score. You and I have never done a broadcast like this where neither one of us are in the press box right now. You're down on the field. I'm in Carmen DeLong's treehouse, and the Wildcats are going to lose 49-13. But there were some positives, I guess. The positives, I thought the defense, honestly, after being put in terrible position by those turnovers, one on special teams, the other on offense, the defense really, I think, played well, and they have played well all season long. The Wildcats just could not get it going offensively. That's the key.
Yeah, and I mean that's what it's been the issue all season, and let's be honest, that was the issue to a large part last season. It's just been consistency. This year, the offense has been better than it was last season, but it's not been consistent, and ultimately football is a long game where you've got to be consistent, and that's Oak Ridge has yet to be that really for 4 quarters of football, and certainly they were behind the 8 ball pretty early on in this one after the 4 turnovers in the first quarter. It was just a tough one to watch, tough one to play in, I'm sure, and coach in, and this is one I'm sure by tomorrow morning when these guys wake up, they'll have already turned the page because there's no rest. You got to get ready for a region game next week.
Alex, I know I'm not criticizing. I love this Greenville band here, but you talked about the kind of not so really their own traditions of PAL last week, but I don't know if you noticed it, but their fight song, the Greenville Green Devils fight song, name fight song.
Well, the Notre Dame fight song, and then not only that, David, but they started playing Rocky Top at one point, and I want us to win at LSU as bad as anybody, but that was interesting, is to not only have one Division I college football program's fight song as your fight song, but then to play another popular song from a Division I team. They did everything but play the Florida State song tonight, David.
Let's take a break here. I know you'll have an opportunity to speak to Coach Cummings. The Wildcats defeated tonight 49-13. We'll be back, hopefully, with Coach Cummings and Alex Myers following this 3-minute timeout. The goal is not to leave your chair here at your house.
That was my fault. Forget it. So Greenville.
Our whole schedule last week, like the pending state champions, our schedule's been tough on this week.
Yeah.
Said she's right for you.
Oh,
Yeah, she's got my hair. She said she almost did the other time when I was here. She said you asked her, but I think she had, yeah, I guess after a long day at work. I guess.
Welcome back to Blankenship Field. Alex Myers down here at field level. Coach Scott Cummings. Coach, tough one tonight in every asset, I'm sure, but the start of that game, it sort of puts you guys behind the eight ball. You had a good stop defensively on the first drive, and then turnovers hit you.
Yeah, they did. I mean, we got to catch a ball and not fumble a ball, can't throw interceptions. We can't muff the punt. We can't, guys, tonight was definitely, and we were equal opportunity, screw up. And, sometimes you get at a loss for words. We got to get better Monday. Next week we play for a possible home playoff game. We are too good for this crap. We are too good for this. We knew we'd be battling. Their size in the defensive box is just going to be tough for us to deal with. But gosh almighty, I mean, we can't just give them 28 points. We just can't hand them 28 points and expect to compete. And that's what we did.
Short week, you were talking to your team. As the game next week, obviously, home, it's senior night, big opportunity for those seniors, not just because it's senior night in a home game, but like you said, you guys are still battling for playoff position, hoping to somehow get to be able to host at least one game here at Blankenship. It's a short week, though. The game's on Thursday. How does that change things as you prepare this week?
It changes a lot. We got to flush this. I mean, I told them, if there's ever been a game that you got to flush, this is it. So we got to flush it, and we got to come in Sunday, start watching film on Sunday with the players, given a short week. We got to have a typical Tuesday practice on Monday and a typical Wednesday practice on Tuesday, and then walk through on Wednesday, get their legs back under them. So it changes a lot. You know, I don't know how bad Nick Lucas is now. You know, Truett Text was out on the offensive line, so we played without both starting tackles. You know, we just got to see where we're at on Sunday and Monday and, you know, fight to get better and, you know, next man up, like we've been saying all season, man. It's just, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Coach.
All right, thanks.
David, I'll send it back up to you. That was Coach Scott Cummings, head coach of the Wildcats. David, back up to you in the treehouse.
The final score here, and that was the final score here. A little trouble getting my mic on. Thank you, Alex, for that. As Coach Cummings said, just not a nice night here. I mean, the Wildcats didn't play well at all, and obviously he was not happy at all with the result. Not just the result, but just the way the Wildcats played in general. But the good news is, and I've said this all along, and I know Oak Ridge fans are tired of hearing this, it was not a region ball game. It does not count towards the playoffs. It was ugly. We got beaten soundly. It was not fun to watch. Longtime Oak Ridge fans are probably not happy about it, but it wasn't a region ball game. The Wildcats can still win a state championship in football. And I say that, it's true. The Wildcats will play Carnes in a region ball game next Thursday here at Blankenship Field. That'll be a ball game at 7 o'clock here at Blankenship Field, a win there, and they almost assured themselves of a home playoff ball game in the first round of the playoffs. And if they can beat Campbell County, they'll definitely have a home game. And, you know, you just take them one game at a time. And as Coach Cummings said, and as Alex and I have said all along, this football team has got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of skill guys. They are lacking in a lot of size. We've said that. We've got some great kids with a lot of heart that play hard on the line of scrimmage. A lot of them don't have a lot of experience, and we don't have a lot of size for sure. Wildcats and Oak Ridge fans say this, you know, I get it all the time from people. People come up to me and say, how come we're losing? We got too much speed. We've got this and that. They never talk about the line. Football is won at the line of scrimmage. That is where it's won. Yes, we do have a lot of speed. Yes, we do have a lot of talent. We are not blessed with a lot of size. And in a city like this, it is surprising, but honestly, over the last several years, that's the way it's been for many, many years. We have not always had a lot of size, but this year we just don't have a lot of size, and we don't have a lot of depth. Coach Cummings mentioned that Truett Tex and Nick Lucas are two biggest guys. Neither one of them played in the second half of this game. Truett had a concussion, did not play at all, while Nick Lucas went down with an injury. We just don't have size. You win football games at the line of scrimmage. It was quite apparent when you looked at the Greenville team, how they pushed our line around, that's why they are so good. They don't have the same skill guys as us, but they have, I'm not going to say better linemen because I love our kids. They work hard, they play hard, and they do everything they're asked of, but they're bigger than us. They are bigger than us, and you cannot win football games if you don't have great line play. And the Wildcats have struggled in the last little bit because of that situation. And I know Alex, Mark, and Sean are about ready to do the stats, but you have to agree, games are won at the line of scrimmage, and we just don't have the depth of size sometimes to compete with these schools. Now we're trying to get his mic back on. But the Wildcats are defeated 49-13. Alex?
Yeah, thank you very much, David. I'm in here with Mark. Mark, you still need a minute or two on the stats? Okay, Mark is ready for the stats. So it was a long game, even with the running clock. So we'll try not to extend this post-game show too much longer. We definitely appreciate everyone listening because certainly you had numerous opportunities where you could have understandably switched it off, but we appreciate the support, and I'm sure these kids do as well, is because ultimately, as Dave's mentioned a couple of times, they are still kids, and again, I'm just proud of them for not quitting. It wasn't a great game. There's a lot to be disappointed about, but the kids never quit, and that's certainly something that you can lay your head down at night happy with. Here comes our final stats with Mark Haste.
Thank you very much, Alex. As you said, Oak Ridge falls tonight to Greenville by a final score of 49-13, I believe. Statistics for Oak Ridge, they were led on the ground by Jai Hunley. He had 6 carries for 70 yards. His long tonight was that 74-yard impressive late touchdown for the Wildcats. Jovis Dozier, he had 30 yards on 8 carries. Almani Rembert had a 3-yard carry. Brandon Hayward had 1 carry for -4 yards to open up the game where he fumbled the ball, I believe. Ethan Garza had 2 carries netting -6 yards. So as a team, the Wildcats on 18 carries accumulated 93 yards on the ground. Through the air, Oak Ridge quarterback Ethan Garza, he was 10 of 22 for 135 yards. He did have 2 interceptions on the night. His long was a 56-yard touchdown reception to Brandon Hayward. Brandon Hayward led receiving corps with 77 yards on 3 receptions. Elijah Rogers had 2 receptions, totaling 36 yards. Jovis Dozier had 17 yards on 3 receptions. Connor Cummings had a 5-yard reception, and Jai Hunley had a reception, netting no yards. So, as a team, the Wildcats on the ground had 93 yards on 18 carries. They had 135 yards on 10 receptions for a total offense tonight of 228 yards. Wildcats had 5 first downs in the ballgames, penalized 7 times for 75 yards. Now looking at the victorious Greenville Green Devils, they were led on the ground by Carson Quillen. He had 127 yards on 14 carries. That's an average of 9.1 yards per carry. His long was 36 yards. Brady Quillen, quarterback for Greenville, he had 10 carries for 39 yards. Emmanuel Dixon, 6 carries netting 24 yards. Damian Short, 22 yards on 13 carries. And Corbin Cannon had 3 carries netting -9 yards. Those were obviously the cleanup ones at the end where he was just downing the ball. So as a team, the Green Devils had 46 carries, totaling 203 yards on the ground. Through the air, quarterback for Greenville, Brady Quillen, he was 12 of 21 for 148 yards. Receiving for Greenville, they were led by Adjate Dabbs. He had 56 yards on 5 receptions. Mason Laws had 42 yards on 3 receptions. Damian Short, 19 yards on 2 receptions. Jaquan Price had a 16-yard reception, and Carson Quillen had a 15-yard reception. So as a team, the Green Devils had 203 yards on the ground on 46 carries. They had 148 yards through the air on 12 receptions for a total offense tonight of 351 yards. They had 17 first downs in the ballgame. They were penalized 4 times for 45 yards. So again, Oak Ridge falls by a final score of 49-13. Alex?
Thank you very much, David. I'll wrap it up with my final thoughts. Again, not really much to say that we haven't already said. I just appreciate everybody sticking with us and listening. And David, you did a good job. And people at home probably don't want to hear this and don't care. But I will say, David, that doing a game like this, watching it's not very fun. Calling the game's not very fun. And it's not easy because you have to call reality what it is, but you also have to try to be entertaining and try to not harp on the negative more than you have to. So, David, I thought you navigated those rough waters tonight, and Again, just a tough night for Oak Ridge. But if there's ever a week where you're glad it's a short week, I think it's this week, as you can sort of try to get this out of your mind and sort of get past it, hopefully with the win on Thursday here at home on senior night.
You know, I've never heard a coach as upset after a game. Well, maybe Coach Pruden. She never liked, even if it was a 1-point loss. She was, she's very disappointed. But you're right. It is a short week, and they can get it out of their heads and come back and play a Carnes team. And there's some incentive there. You know, Carnes beat us last year. The quarterback for Carnes is an Oak Ridge guy. Played at Jefferson, played for the high school last year, and obviously he's friends with a lot of these guys. But they're going to have try to beat him for sure and beat Carnes and try to get that home playoff game. But I don't know if you heard what I said. I know you were walking back up the steps, but people tell me all the time, and this I'm not going to hold us here too long. But I said this a moment ago. People tell me all the time we shouldn't lose because we have so much speed, so many skill guys, so many pass receivers, so many this, that. Games are won at the line of scrimmage, and I think right that example of Greenville's, just the way they just dominated the line of scrimmage is the reason they're 7-0, and the reason they are number one in the state. We don't have the depth or the size right now. And we can have all the skill guys in the world, but if there's nobody blocking for you, if there's nobody to protect the quarterback or allow those holes to get opened up for the running backs, you're not going to win football games. And prime example, Greenville's just bigger, and they're better right now. But that doesn't mean we can't get back to where we used to be at some point. But right now, I think that's the main difference right now. Nothing against our kids. They play hard. They work hard. They do the best they can. But we just don't have speed or strength, really, at the line of scrimmage.
I think you're right. Ever since, I've been watching football since the early 2000s here at Blankenship, and Oak Ridge, maybe 1 or 2 years do I ever remember there being a little bit of a lack of talent at the skill positions. I mean, even in some leaner years, Oak Ridge tends to always have 2 or 3 guys who can just make plays. But the problem always with Oak Ridge, except for a couple of years, is even on some of the more successful Oak Ridge teams, is that typically, and you see it in basketball too, typically Oak Ridge has to beat you with speed and athleticism more so than size. And there's nothing more apparent than that, than watching offensive line and defensive line if you don't have that size. And it's not everything. You look at LaMichael Galloway today, who made quite an impact, and he's probably the smallest defensive line we have. So it's not everything, but it's not just the size, but what you mentioned is also maybe even more impactful. It's the depth. And certainly Oak Ridge is lacking in both of those areas. And but it's not just on the line. This is a team that struggled in several areas, but I think you're right. No matter how many skill position guys you have, ultimately the game is won and lost in the trenches. And definitely this one it was evident here tonight.
49-13 is the final score. Alex, I appreciate your good work. I know you're not going to be with us next week. You're heading up for a family vacation up in Washington, D.C., and we'll miss you. And hopefully we'll come away with a victory here, because just to be honest with you, and don't tell Coach Gaddis this, but the games that I haven't been in Atlanta with the Braves that I've called, we've lost, with the exception of South Doyle. So hopefully I'll get on the win side of things next Thursday night, 7 o'clock here at Blankenship Field. We do have some positive news to report here, though, if you're an Oak Ridge fan, and nothing against our friends from the other side of the county, but Clinton has been defeated by Lenoir City. 24-20 is the final score. Clinton is 0-4 in the region. They've won all their non-region ball games. Clinton is not going to go to the playoffs, and that's a shocker. Lenoir City's been close with everybody but us, honestly, and we didn't particularly play that well. But whatever happened in Clinton, I don't know if Keith was playing quarterback, but Clinton has lost. They're 0-4, and I don't see any possible way for them to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a shocker. And Oak Ridge and Clinton are rivals, absolutely, but it's just astounding.
Stunning.
I mean, that's you want to talk about a team that's got some size, and they do have some skill position, at least at the quarterback with Joshua Keith, as talented as that guy is, one of the better passers in the area. And and struggling to score against that Lenoir City team and struggling so mightily at times. And they've played some close games, but ultimately not coming away with the region win. Being eliminated, 7 weeks into the season from playoff contention, and the modern day TSSAA, when so many teams make the playoffs, that's got to be hugely disappointing. And to me, as an Oak Ridge guy, more than anything, it's just you just kind of shake your head and say how, because that's a team that should be better than Lenoir City, and from the two teams that I saw, and it's a team that in the modern day playoffs. How many teams make it? That Clinton squad I saw was good enough that they should be in the playoffs.
Let's close it out here. The Wildcats defeated 49-13. We appreciate Alex, as I said, Mark and Shauna Hayes doing our stats. Our camera personnel, Cody Jordan up top. We had on the field today Josh Frazier, Drew Thomas, Alex Waraxa. Brian Bennett has been our steady guy back at the station for several years, and he pushed all the right buttons here once again tonight. Final score from Blankenship Field, the Wildcats defeated 49-13. Our next broadcast next Thursday night, 7 o'clock kickoff against the Carnes Beavers. For Alex, Mark, and Shauna, and all the people I mentioned earlier, 49-13 the final score. Until next week, this is David Clary saying so long, everybody.